Mike, turn your games down.
Hi, everyone, to episode 174 of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who's running around in the cold with me tonight?
Hi, this Bill. Comrade Richard Sampson. Running around in the freezing Siberia. I should have told them I knew nothing. Nothing! Of course, you might know me from other episodes of this, including all the Tomb Raider episodes so far, as well as my YouTube channel, where I'm go by Rich Kale.
And our special guest.
And the glorious return of Cody, Swamp-born of House Laveau, professional rhino wrangler, warden of the Riverlands, bender of limbs, winter soldier, gentleman adventurer, former handsomest man, 2018. I'm coming back for you, 2022. If and when I'm back in it. Breaker of hearts, treasure hunter, friend to every single animal on the planet Earth, father of Grovers, yes, the Acadian Nightmare, the Crescent City Saint, the Mississippi Miracle, your favorite podcast guest and mine. They call him Gatorleg, but he won't tell you why. According to Mike, wooer of ostriches, which is an unusual one that I will also not explain. Yes, it is the glorious return of Cody Laveau, and I'm gonna live forever. I'm gonna cross that river, because they live forever in this game. That's like the whole thing. I am very happy to be back. You can find me on various social media platforms. I make a TikTok once every 3 months. There's a goat on there. Enjoy that. That's really cute. And a YouTube that I barely touch because I got doxxed like a year ago. So
you won your war.
Trying not to. Yeah, I won. I won the war. I'm still the most famous person on YouTube. The former Nazi scumbag did have to change his name. So if you search for Cody Laveau and you see not grungy looking white guy without dreadlocks, that's me. And I'm happy to be there on top of the heap. Cody
I still love that.
That is one of my proudest moments. Straight up. That is one of my happiest things that I've ever done, is help to deplatform a Nazi by sheer force of will of being more popular than him. I will carry that to my grave with. I have saved one endangered species, the eastern indigo snake, and I've also deplatformed a Nazi, and I'm pretty equally proud of both.
All right. And we are here to talk about Rise of the Tomb Raider, which came out back in...
I mean, you're going to have to tell me. I don't know.
I know, I'm looking. 2015. Wow, this is already 7 years old?
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah.
Developed by Crystal Dynamics, published by Square Enix, which I still can't get used to. Square Enix published Tomb Raider, but whatever.
Well, it's only been since 2003, so...
Yeah, I'm still stuck apparently in a different universe. See, when I remember Square, it was a good old Square that made Final Fantasy games and Enix with Star Ocean, but games like that, Dragon Quest, when they were together.
Hey, Mike,
well, Dragon Quest was Enix.
Yeah, but later on it wasn't.
I think there's like a 12th Final Fantasy game now.
They're on 15.
I haven't played anything really past 11, unfortunately. Well, I did play
I was going to
13.
say, Mike, what's the newest game that you've played? Because I feel like the newest thing that you've done is like Dead Space or something.
Resident Evil 2 remake. That's the newest game I've played at all.
Great game. So yeah, but I feel like most of the games that you play, because you pretty much just play games specifically for this podcast, I feel like all of them I
can't help it.
are over at least 15 years old. Some of them closer to 20, right?
Some. I mean, it would say usually over 5 for most of them.
Yeah.
We tend. I mean, we're mostly PS. Now we're really in the PS2 era a lot. So, and some early 360, but even then, I mean 06 is not close.
Which is perfect, because that is right in my price range, which is right around the price range of games that I own on the Xbox 360 anyway.
Yes, that's perfect.
Perfect.
So I had actually never played this game before. I had never even bought this game, like physically, at all. Somehow I completely missed this title. I'd played it. This is also the second of the new Tomb Raider reboot trilogy. I should put that out there. And
well, you're not alone in that.
I owned it. I bought it on Steam, and then I got it for free on Epic, which is why this happened, because when Epic gave me all 3 for free, I'm like, now I have to play them. So that's kind of what started it.
Did themselves for the holidays.
So yeah, I had no memory or any nostalgia or anything for this game coming in. What about you, Rich?
Like I said, I'd never played it before. I knew of it. I knew of its existence, but I never played it. And part of that was because the computer I had could never handle it.
Yeah.
Which is most of my life.
This was also an early Xbox One, Xbox 360 game. So it was right on that cusp of next gen at the time, but they still had a copy on last gen type of thing.
And that's kind of where I am with it. I bought this on the 360 because I'm one of those guys that I for whatever reason but the Xbox One was the one after the 360, right? Yeah, I never bought a console after that until the Switch. Well, I did buy the Wii U like 2 years ago because there was like a video cafe that was going out of business, and I thought it would be kind of fun to buy one. I bought the Switch during the pandemic just because I could. And but other than that, I kind of stopped at the 360 because the 360 has such a deep catalog to it. There's just so many games that, I mean, if you go back and look at it, it's an incredibly solid lineup, and you can get the games for really cheap. Just look them up online, right? So I actually bought. Oh, yep, there it is. Mike showing it to me, showing me the games.
I have 3 shelves of 360 games. That's only part of my collection. That's just my collection of how much shit I picked up. And I mean, that's
you've seen a
dent.
My house, because there is no judgment whatsoever. I have a Sega Nomad sitting on the top of my desk right now. So I totally, tons of 360 games. But yeah, I mean, they're really cheap right now. If you're wanting to collect, this is probably the right time to start buying because you can find them for $5-10. And that Xbox line or that Xbox 360 lineup is incredibly solid.
Yes, it is.
So I bought this game actually when it was new because I feel like it was on Xbox 360. I feel like I got it on sale shortly after it came out for like $25 or something like that. Like it was fairly cheap. And no, I played it immediately as soon as it came out. And I actually fired up the 360 again to play this because I kind of wanted to, like, even though I do have it on the on Steam, I just kind of wanted to go back to how I played it when I first played it, if that makes any sense. If we were playing like if we were playing an NES game, I would fire it up on the top loader, even though I own a Raspberry Pi, just because I want to get the most authentic feeling of how it was when I played it the first time. So that's how I did it this time. And no, I absolutely loved both of the first 2 games. I don't think Shadow, the third game in the trilogy, actually ever came out on the 360, so I've never actually played it. I've never played it, so inevitably when we do this, I'll be playing that one for the first time. But lots of good memories with this one. It was. So I think I am probably one of the very few people who bought this when it came out on the 360 and just never moved past that console.
I feel like 360, a lot of people wouldn't have went past it and kept going. I mean, that's partly why I missed this game because it was on both systems. So I waited because it wasn't cheap enough. And then around that era, 2016, my life went to shit for a little bit. So I didn't have money. And so I didn't get around to this. And then I had always been meaning to play this. So when we finally did Tomb Raider last season, which wasn't supposed to be on the show, but happened, I was excited to play this. And this game blew me away right from the beginning. Like the graphics, everything with the feel of this game. It took everything from 2013 that was right, took out all the bad stuff and just kept going.
Yeah.
I'm 100% okay with that. Also, you don't need to play 2013 to play this game because this game is very much, I mean, it's a sequel, but it's very much a standalone sequel. You can figure out enough pieces of the puzzle without having to play the first one.
Yeah, they do give information that helps keep the story set. And like with the game of the year, I guess what we did was game of the year. I do not know if the GPS caches were in the original Tomb Raider 2013, but it actually adds to the detail for it. Why? And we get introduced to Trinity fully in this one.
Which they're a very good villain, and they're much better than, what the hell is the guy's name? It started with an M, right? It's
like Mordecai or no, but it was like an old person, like an old time.
I mean, he was just a bunch of deranged pirates. Yeah, like this is an actual organized military force that knows what they're doing, not as a bunch of like hicks, for lack of a better word.
Yeah. Well, they've apparently had time to perfect that.
But this
Yeah,
this is also less
film's
bloody. This is way less gory, way less bloody. She's not beaten down. I mean, she has things happen to her and she gets beat up, but not like the first 2013 Tomb Raider where she goes through fucking hell in that game. And it was nice not to see her go through hell.
Yeah, well, I feel like it happened so much in the previous Tomb Raider that it almost felt like somebody like enjoyed it a little bit too much, where it was a little bit like I think by like the fifth or sixth time that it happened, I figured she was either about to die of sepsis or she was literally Wolverine. but that first time she gets like impaled in her side, it's gory, but by the sixth time you're like, okay, Laura, really? Are you all right? Because it feels like you should no longer have blood inside of your body for as much as you've gotten hurt. Like it takes the impact out of it.
Well, this is shown that she's a little bit more seasoned in all that now.
Yeah, she has risen.
Okay. I didn't really think about that.
And did you notice that in the very first scene of this, she's going up a mountain? So she's literally, the Tomb Raider is rising.
Okay, I did not notice that.
Mind blown.
That's funny.
Right? Thank you.
It also does such a good job of connecting with the previous, with the previous story from the previous. God, I'm not doing well with the other Tomb Raider games before this, because it connects with the family. Like the first game had nothing to do with her father, nothing to do with her mansion, and this game starts off showing you that she's following a quest that her father had done, but then her father had committed suicide in quotations, and that's what is going on. And I think that what makes this game better too. And like just not even the gameplay, just the story aspects of it, like what they do in like giving her the motive and having her go to the mansion, having someone try to assassinate her at her father's office, and all that stuff that goes along with it, I think really makes you care so much more about the story and her.
Oh yeah.
It adds more depth to all the characters.
Well, and I do feel like in this game they trimmed down a lot of the characters, which they probably should have in the first one. Whereas like Laura had all these friends in the first one, and I could not tell you any of their names. I did have to look her name up. I even said it in the last game. Her name was Sam, and they were apparently best friends, but you would never know that. This one, she had one friend. His name was Jonah. He lost 40 pounds in 1 year. He's an expert at mountain climbing, and you're taking care of your best friend. And I did not forget Jonah's name this time, because there was only one, and it made more sense.
It's also a much smaller cast.
Yes. Well, that's hence why I'm saying I feel like when there's fewer people in the narrative, it's easier to sort of flesh out their character a lot more. And that's what this game did.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it does do that. And besides, the storyline was different. First one, that was an adventure they got into that they did not expect to get into.
Mm-hmm.
This one, she's on this quest that she knows what she's going in, somewhat what she's going into.
Although it did have a lot of very similar plot elements to it. I will feel like I do feel like Laura should have been like, hey, wait a minute. There's these ancient, nearly immortal warriors that are just like Eastern European knights instead of like Southeast Asian samurai? Because this feels really, really similar.
I think they did that. Well, they do that. I think they're doing that in all of them.
Yeah, probably.
You got to have some
I know
unnatural element.
But I like that.
Yeah,
that's what draws me to.
Well, yeah, that's what makes it cool, right? Indiana Jones always has to run from something, and he's always fighting. Yeah, I mean, like you want to expect a certain thing going into it, but by the third or fourth one of these, Laura should be like, "Wow, I run into a lot of ancient warriors that seem to be undead or magical in some kind of way every time I go somewhere."
Yeah,
but I mean that works. Like, and you get introduced early on to Anna, who was her father's like girlfriend, who is telling her like, oh, hey, don't go on this expedition, don't worry about this stuff, don't look for it. Like, I think that also plays well, like the way that they work with her character throughout this.
Which I do like that they introduced her, and they really had to go fast with her, because she got kind of brought in between the Avalanche and the Syrian temple, and they really kind of had to run with her to establish her as, spoiler alert, the villain. But she had kind of and she had a much more fascinating character motivation than I want money, in just like giving her lung cancer, and this is why she's so motivated by this. She could have all the money in the world, but it wouldn't save her life, but this would. I thought that was a very interesting aspect to what motivated her.
Well, I don't think they even, I was looking at the wiki earlier today, or was it last night? One of the two. They never confirm if she had cancer. It's most likely due to her bad smoking habit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, I will do it.
And, I've lost family to cancer.
Yeah.
So it would have to make it a very despicable person to make me hate someone in that situation. She's her.
Well, killing thousands of people, I think it's a start.
Well, not just that, but how manipulative she is.
Oh, gosh,
very
she's
much.
a great villain. And you don't even you don't even see it coming in this game. Like, I did not. This game had a lot of different story beats that really jumped around, and I didn't see any of them coming. And each time I was like, "Good job, game! Like, you got me. Like, I love you, game. Like, I really did." And I was so surprised.
I did kind of telegraph her becoming the villain, though, just because she's like the only other named character. I wouldn't really expect her to be in the plot unless she was gonna like die or be the villain, since she just showed up.
She was gonna die for sure.
Oh yeah, so I figured one or the other when I first played this. I went, okay, she's either gonna die or she's gonna be the villain, one or the other.
Yeah, but then
she
again,
does
you learn.
Good job.
Oh yeah, and you learn more of her as you collect the lore and all that.
Yeah,
the artifact.
I really liked all the way that fleshed that out. I feel like it did it much better than the last game did in both the side stories and the way that it sort of added to the main overall narrative of what you're doing. It made it actually where you would want to collect things much more than the first game.
Oh yeah, I actually collected tons of stuff, and anyone who listens to the show enough knows I don't go out of my way anymore in games. I went out of my way. I didn't use a map. Like, I wouldn't look at the map or try, but if I saw something, I would go get it. 9 out of 10
You didn't even
times.
raid the tombs in the last game.
No, you didn't.
Did a couple. in this game, for a good chunk of the game, if I found an optional tomb and could do it when I was there, I would go do it. But I wouldn't go back. And then when I got near the end of the game, I was just like, okay, I'm done. But for a good chunk of the game, I was getting every tomb that I could. I was getting every artifact I could. I was trying to read all different languages. There's so many collectibles in this game that really kind of blew me away with how much I was enjoying that, because that's not me.
Yeah, that is very out of character for you, Mike.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm pleased with it because of what he did.
I did a lot in this game, and I enjoyed it. Like, this was a game that, because a lot of people say Uncharted is a better series than the Tomb Raider Reboot series of the 3 games. This game, this is my favorite. I haven't played Uncharted 4 in a while of all those so far. This hit every button for me that I needed pressed. It was perfect for me. Like, it was a game made for me, and I was like, that doesn't happen very often. And I love her learning languages. Like, you find different murals and you find different artifacts, and she learns languages by reading these markers, so then she can read other things. And I thought that was a really cool way of pushing the world.
Oh yeah, it definitely was. I mean, you're learning the lore of characters. You're learning the lore of the people you meet too later on in the game. And it just adds so much to it. And yeah, I also like the bit of the shopping too in the game, where you can actually purchase some of the stuff you need.
Yeah,
I only found him once.
He's
I never
only
found him
in
a second
one spot.
I know. I never went back. I just never bothered to go back.
You didn't backtrack.
No, I collected coins every chance I could find them. I collected everything, but I never went back to them. I was like, I'll find them again somewhere else. Never did.
Well, you had to get something from, I think, just to advance in the game. Trying to remember which item it was.
I don't think you do. Unless you're talking about the gear thing where she goes faster up the rope. I bought that the first time I saw him.
The rope ascender, that you need.
Yeah, I bought that immediately when I saw him. Then I never saw him again. Never bought anything from him again. And he was never in my game again.
But that's like part of the fun of this game, is doing like the whole like Metroidvania kind of thing where you can go back, and which this game did even more of, which means that you were kind of incentivized to go back to the previous areas and find stuff, and also buy stuff from the merchant, which might have been the reincarnated version of the merchant from Resident Evil 4. That's in my headcanon.
I just didn't backtrack much in this game.
Well, this game did force you to revisit certain areas.
Then I did.
Yeah. But beyond being forced to, you didn't care to go back and be like, oh, my arrows can now hook up to the rocks so I can climb up those now.
No way in hell. No, I just kept going.
That is very
played.
Mike. Okay, I was worried about you for.
I don't have time for that. I gotta get the next game.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, usually you're like the most basic kind of Mike. You didn't even raid tombs in the last Tomb Raider game.
No,
I was okay. I was worried when you're like, I was actually collecting stuff. Like, how are you collecting?
It was so much fun.
Yeah,
this game was just so good like that. Like that's
but
what.
Not enough to go back, but still.
Yeah.
I mean, if you grew up also in the during any part of the Cold War, it was kind of fun to go through and ransack the Russian.
I mean, I was born in '87.
That's the best part of the whole game for me is that first sort of Soviet playground thing. That's the best part of the game for me. The rest of it goes. I love the
idea of you going to where Soviets had built bases and built things and just abandoned them because that feels like classic Soviet era stuff. Yeah. What they would do.
Yeah, it's like
the fact that they use slaves.
Very GoldenEye 64 with that. Yeah. I used to love going through all the bunkers and stuff.
Wasn't the Soviet Union, from what I understand from history, was not very good, especially with Stalin around.
Yeah, I wouldn't have wanted to live in it.
No, I mean, I think it got better, but during the Stalin era, things were not good.
Yeah, I think,
and I feel this would have been the era that I think that what you're exploring would have been Stalin era that the Soviet Union was supposedly in here.
I'm not an expert on Soviet architecture, but
I know a little.
But I mean, and Stalin ruled for a while. This is not a history podcast, so I definitely have not fact checked this. But I think Stalin was in charge for
it was a while,
a good hot minute,
because he killed all his competition.
Yeah, it was very funny. All of them. He would take pictures with his,
during the Second World War.
Oh well, yeah, and then beyond that, I think into the 60s or something. But yeah, Stalin would take pictures. 1963 is when he died. Okay.
From 1929 to 1953.
Oh, 1953. Okay. Yeah. That's still a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah,
considering how many people he killed? Oh yeah.
No, he would take group pictures with his bros, and then he would kill one, or he would have one disappeared, and then he would literally rub them out of the photo like early Photoshop. It's the most hilarious thing. You can go back and they can see where they peeled off the paint. And you can see where his old folks that he had killed. And in addition to looking like Wario, he's also the world leader that I think is most famous for his son being in the gulag and him not breaking him out. That is hardcore. Now, I'm a father and he's a little difficult sometimes, but if I had the power to break my own son out of the Russian gulag, I would probably do it.
Well, he probably didn't want competition. Stalin hated everybody. So I mean that also fits in this game where when you like Wario, totally get it. Like when you see the Russian, like you talk about the Soviet era, and you see when you read the notes, which I did this time, they talk about what they did. I mean they were killed. I mean they had slaves, laborers that they found or people they just brought, and they kill them when they're done. Which again, it fits Stalin if you follow history, because Stalin, I think he killed so many people, but except he was the ally in quotations. So we don't talk about what he did. We talk about Hitler. But I loved all the historical that they put in this game.
I know Stalin was definitely a real bastard. I don't think that is a controversial take to have.
Yeah.
Whether or not,
it's just the winner tells the books. I mean, writes the books essentially.
Right.
Very much what happened in this case.
Yeah, I don't think that's too much of a hot take. Anyway, you were saying.
Well, there goes our ratings in Russia.
How dare you?
We actually get a few downloads in Russia. Not many.
Still, I was going to say, are they downloading it recently?
I haven't looked, but I think so. Well, I mean, I know what's going on there, but I
don't think they're downloading anything in Russia coming from over here right now.
Yeah, you're probably right.
It's time for you to take a stand, Mike. You are going to join Games My Mom Found will no longer be downloadable in Russia if you knew how to do that.
I don't think I have that ability.
You are taking.
But now I'm curious. I'm going to look it up.
We're going to punish the Russian people by not letting them download this podcast in Russia.
That's the worst penalty we can think of.
Peace.
Although we can't necessarily totally knock them. I mean, let's face it. We got one of the cooler download DLCs in this game because of Russia.
Baba Yaga. You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong.
Okay, in March, I had 14 downloads.
Oh, look at that! Look at you. In April, I assume you will not have any.
Oh, no, that was April. That was between March 31st and April 30th. So somebody in Russia downloaded us 14.
Somebody could do it. Somebody in Russia figured it out.
Yeah. Okay.
They're probably
Saudi Arabia.
somebody's probably making sure there's no propaganda against
Other Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah, this episode won't be very happy over there.
Well, okay. Oh, look. Hang on. I want to know how to. I do not know how to say this. I can't say it, but cheers. Okay, thanks for being able to take a joke to the 14 listeners that are currently in
hopefully
Russia.
This episode.
I really hope that they are listening to this, and I hope that they comment in the Cyrillic alphabet. I want to have more fans in Russia. I am just picking with you. You guys are probably a wonderful group of people.
Hey, as we know here, it's not your fault. It's not your fault when you have an idiot in charge. That just happens.
Unless it is. What if it's Putin that's actually downloading your podcast and he says, "How dare you, Mike Albertin?"
All of a sudden, I'm assassinated at work. Well, you know why?
My goodness!
Oh, Mike fell down the stairs with 6 bullet holes in his head. Total accident.
All right. But just like things about this game that were just so like. It also jumps around a little bit, but not too much. Like it starts off where you're in Siberia, you're with your one friend, and then you see the ruins, and then you have Avalanche, but then it jumps back to what led her here in the first place, where she's in Syria trying to find this temple. Because the whole story is that you're looking for this prophet who had essentially the key to immortality. And that's what this whole game is about, the whole story about. She's looking for the divine source that is supposed to grant you.
Suspiciously white man from Constantinople. Go on.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's that stupid idea like, Jesus Christ would be white. No, he would not.
No, he looks just like me. Hawaiian shirt and all. Hey, guys, Jesus here. Great to see you.
I mean, again, it's just whitewashing.
Love thy neighbor. How you doing? White guy, long hair.
I always like that joke when people in the middle, they have people in Middle Eastern history and they don't, and they're white. It's like, come on, they're not white. It's not how this works.
Yeah.
I know this is totally a non-visual format, but for the listeners at home, I look a lot like Jesus H. Christ, except I'm wearing a Hawaiian shirt and currently drinking a pina colada. Because we're doing a podcast about the coldest part of the world.
Why not write a white Russian? Probably would have been more fitting.
Oh man, I wish I had thought of that instead of trying to go Hawaiian. I mean, I also look like the Big Lebowski, so that would have also
actually vodka be more appropriate.
Well, that's in a white Russian. It's just vodka and cream. This is I just thought, what is the most opposite thing of Tomb Raider I could possibly do? Hawaiian shirt and a pina colada.
So
that almost fits with Jonah.
Actually, yeah. Which, by the way, good for you, Jonah. Like I said, I think he's lost about 40 pounds since the last game, and he's an expert mountain climber. I think he was the cook in the last game, and now he's adventuring around the world. He's Laura's only friends because the rest of her friends either died or got very, very far away from her, as they should have.
Well, there is some story that's ventured into in one of the Tomb Raider comics that makes official canon.
Oh, really?
Or linked to official canon. So
where Sam gets eaten by a bear?
No, she's still in the comic that she still had part of Himiko's spirit in her.
Ooh, that's cool. Like the wit. Oh, dude, that is cool. Actually, it's pretty neat. See, this is the kind of stuff that they wouldn't know. This is why you do a podcast, is we can find out there's some of the Himiko witchy business going on with Mordecai or whatever that guy's name was that was trying to.
I think it was something.
No, he's dead.
Yeah, now he's dead, but the witch is still inside her. So Sam's a little evil. See, Sam should have been in this game.
She should have been.
I totally take it back. Laura could have used an immortal witchy friend to shoot magic at the undead undead, but like undying Russian soldiers in.
I don't think they're even Russian.
No.
I don't know what they are.
We'll get there.
No, they aren't,
but anyway. I have a question for Cody. When I was playing the Siberia part, not Siberia, but what the hell? The first country you're in, the other country you're in,
Syria part.
Syria. Yes, and she goes through a tunnel full of scorpions.
Yes.
And wouldn't that are scorpions vicious or only if you attack them?
Well, it depends on your type of scorpion. Scorpions are dumber than dumb. They're about as dumb as a flea. So I'm not exactly sure which species of scorpion those are. Or I think they're like an amalgamation of a bunch of different things because they were like larger black scorpions, right? Yeah, so those are probably emperor scorpions, which would be African. I don't even know if they have them up in Syria. The ones that we have around here are the small tan ones, which are bark scorpions. And those hurt about as much as a bee sting, if not just a little bit more.
Okay, so it won't kill you.
No. I know that there are some deadly scorpions out there. I'm not really much of a herpetologist. I just took one class in college. But the type of scorpions that are there, I think despite not being native to where she was, would do even less damage than the little bitty bark scorpions here do, because people keep those as pets here, those big emperor scorpions. Mostly because they're incredibly docile and their stings don't really do much to you. Like less than a bee sting, and you really got to be messing with it for it to try to bite you. Last I checked, they're really. Last I checked, they're pretty cheap.
One show.
I would have been done. I wouldn't have made through that tunnel. I would have saw the scorpion and be like, "Oh, we're done. Screw that."
I would have been the same if I was there in real. I was like, "Shit."
Done.
Nah, that's part of my like everyday life for camel spiders and bark scorpions and tarantulas, and
I don't mind spiders.
I spend more time outside than I do inside, and it's nothing but just creepy crawlies, man. I got bit by a centipede about a month ago. That was not fun. I got bit, like I got tagged right on the back of my knee. I was throwing some hay, and just crawled right up my pant leg and just right on the back of the knee. That did not feel good. But yeah, that's just part of my life. I'm covered in all kinds of bites. And, what's that?
What's up?
It could have gotten higher up and stung you.
Yeah, that would not be good. I wish I did not get, or I'm glad I did not get stung in a more sensitive area. But back of the knee seems to be where a lot of things like to do, because you'll start to kind of like dance once you feel it crawling up your leg, and then you'll kind of like bend that knee, and it'll freak out, and then it'll tag you on the back of the knee. I've gotten stung by a scorpion on the back of my knee in a very similar way. But most of the time you get stung on the hands by them. I don't know if you saw that picture that I put on Facebook a while back. There was one right next to the hinge of the gate of one of the gates here. And I was just reaching up and went, oh, whoop, whoop, whoop. There's a bark scorpion sitting right on the handle of that thing. If you ever find yourself stung by a bee, bitten by an ant, tagged by a scorpion, a trick that your grandfather would have known, and I will tell you right now, get some tobacco, lick it, rub it on that wound, and it'll take the sting out of it.
Huh.
Yep.
Okay.
Because for tobacco is very basic, the sting is very acidic, and it kind of cancels it out. So it'll make it hurt a lot less. Yeah.
Okay.
And as you know, I am a pipe smoker, so I always have some
tobacco.
Yeah, some loose leaf with me. So I just put it on there, and it usually feels good. That's what I did when I got stung by those 65 bees like 2 years ago. Yeah, no, I rubbed myself down in it, and that's probably what kept me from swelling up worse than I did, was just to help neutralize all that venom that was going through me.
I just seeing those scorpions and now it makes more sense why they had them, because they had something that's less vicious. Because I was thinking, you go through a whole cave of scorpion, they're gonna be stinging the shit out of you.
No.
Okay.
No, you're fine. They're not gonna mess with you. There's some other animal things here that are not quite right, but the scorpion thing, you're probably fine if you just walk through a cave of scorpions. They're not gonna care.
Okay.
Although I do wonder what they're eating.
Cody.
Yeah.
I do wonder what they're eating, because they are predators. So there's probably a lot of cockroaches around to feed all those lots and lots of scorpions.
Well, that would make sense, though. I mean, because essentially what you're doing, you're following this prophet, and at some point in whatever 1300s or whatever, he had traveled to this place in Syria? Yeah, Syria.
Yeah.
And so it would make sense. I mean, and they had a town and everybody got fucking murdered. So it would make sense that there would be like something there. Like I could see cockroaches, because I mean, don't cockroaches live in most abandoned places? I
mean, they mostly eat decaying organic matter. The reason there's so many cockroaches in the world is because of us. Mostly they live around us, and they kind of always have. They eat our dead skin cells, but they also eat things that we throw out. So otherwise they'll live under like rotting logs or things like that, because it's decaying organic matter for their soft little mouth parts to nibble on.
That's cool.
So Yeah, so that's what
I hate
I
them,
would.
but that's cool.
No, but yeah, it's basically a species that's evolved around us. So that's the thing, is if like the atomic bombs ever go off, like it'll be nothing left but the cockroaches, right? But most of them will starve to death because they won't have us to feed them.
Okay.
Just a little
That's
fun
cool.
fact for you. But yeah,
And this
so
is-
there's probably a lot of cockroaches in this cave if there's that many scorpions that are going to eat them.
I
And they
bet they didn't
probably
think
all
about
went
that.
to hidings.
Yep.
Like this is also where you get introduced to the main villain of the game too. I forgot his name though.
Constantine.
Okay.
Probably
The way
named
he-
after the emperor that converted to Christianity, and Constantinople's named after.
That's probably
I
that would make sense.
Honestly, when you learn more about him, I can see how he became the way he was. I can't fully hate him.
No, he got tricked.
Yeah, he did.
By his sister.
Yep.
Stay woke,
That bitch.
kings. They will. Watch out for those wily women. They'll fake a stigmata on you just to try to get what they want. Hashtag yes all women or whatever. But no, really, those wily women, they will put the holes in your hand somehow.
Well,
Happened to my friend.
I didn't notice that till just now when I'm rewatching the video where he has the the mark in his hand. Like
he has the stigmata.
yes.
I have no idea how she pulled that off. I feel like Constantine is probably not that smart.
I like the idea that this guy is very like religious, but he's a religious zealot and he doesn't anyone who follows the teaching of Christ, I don't remember it saying in the Bible, kill everyone that doesn't agree with you, even though history follows that throughout all of history.
Yeah, it's pretty.
But so I don't follow
We're
that
not going to
religion.
go down that rabbit hole. We could spend
Nope.
a whole other 2
No.
hours.
I don't think I have pissed off enough people by talking bad about, what have I said? Communism, women, and Russia. So
Yes.
I
No, I'm just-
will go ahead and avoid Christianity, even though I did call myself Jesus H. Christ about 15 minutes ago.
But I just like the historical standpoint. It fits this. Like, is that was the idea of the Trinity were these religious zealots who chased after the prophet because he was a fake god. He was not a god at all, but that whole idea, and I like that. Like, I really, that's another thing I really like the story. I like the story that she's facing someone that, is crazy religious.
I will say Trinity is kind of an interesting thing for me because I do like to hang back and listen to the dialogue of the goons when you're still in stealth, when they're like standing around going, man, it sure is cold here or whatever. There was one of them where there were two guards talking to each other and he goes, hey, how long have you been on the payroll? And he's like, this is my first wet work ever. And my first thought was, wait, they have a payroll?
Yeah, well,
Like, this is like a corporation? This is funded by somebody? They're shareholders?
let's
Somebody
see.
signed a W-2 to be on the Trinity payroll?
Trinity has been linked to the church
So the Pope is paying for it.
as a zealot group, but I'm not sure if it was hinted at beforehand in this game, or if that you learn more in the third game.
Well, learn from this. When you give money to Joel Osteen, that's where it goes. So stop doing it, people.
But
Stop doing it. It's gonna go to
I bet-
Constantine. He's gonna buy helicopters with it.
Hey, but I bet
Trinity-
if there's a flood in Texas, Austin would open up his church, right? Okay.
Historically speaking,
Trinity is sort of like, they're the wet works. They're try and give some good references here. They are the SS. They're like the SS. They are like
Gestapo.
They are like Gestapo. They are like, I think SS was even deeper than Gestapo.
Right. I think Gestapo is the police, and like I
It
don't
is
know.
Germany.
Again, this is not a history podcast.
It is, man.
I should know better.
But they should, if you want to use some more modern references, they're like Section 13 in Starfleet. They're like the Tal Shiar. They're like the Obsidian Order.
Section 13.
Now,
I appreciate that.
My thing, the fact that somebody said, how long have you been on the payroll? So while Constantine is making all of these like declarations of hold your faith, men, we are in God's honor. I just picture these guys going, dude, whatever, just as long as the check clears, I don't know, whatever, man.
Yeah, sometimes they hire mercenaries.
Which is what I in my
Also
in my own head canon, there's this guy's like, the Lord Jesus Christ has demanded us, and somebody's like, dude, I'm fucking Jewish. You pay really well. I did 3 tours in like Iraq, so I was really qualified for this job. Like, just whatever, man.
Oh, let's see. It doesn't surprise me. Of course, I've also been reading like the Dresden Files and that. So, you got to quote in the Dresden Files, 3 Knights of the Cross. One of them is a decent Christian person.
Mm-hmm.
One is either agnostic or atheist. And the most recent one that you get, one was one of them that was introduced was Chinese Buddhist.
Oh, nice.
And the more recent one, because one died and another one had to retire, so to speak. And so the newest one is Jewish.
Nice. Huh.
I really did like the banter between the guards. I like the fact that they flesh out so much story.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
In this game, I mean, so much of the story is done with the things you pick up, listening to conversations, and stealth is even more of a part of this game than it was in the first one, I feel.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And also, this one doesn't have just kill room after kill room after kill room. Thank God. It's not like that.
No, I feel like this one definitely made much better use of its environment and its puzzles. Which, again, that's what I am here for. If I wanted to play a third-person shooter, I would jump into Gears of War or something. Like, yes, it's fun. I mean, shooting people is always fun. You heard it here first. But
you are from Texas or in Texas.
Yes, exactly.
So, I mean,
but yeah, I mean, but I feel like you can get that anywhere. But like Tomb Raider is about raiding tombs, figuring out puzzles, seeing new and interesting things, and then destroying them. Tomb Raider. Thank you very much.
True.
Laura's a terrible scientist. She should not be allowed near a dig site at all. But no, I mean I feel like I didn't realize how combat heavy the game was, or the first game was, until I kind of went back and did this one again. And then I didn't realize how much I was kind of longing for a much sort of slower paced puzzle and jumping heavy Tomb Raider experience until I played this one.
Oh yeah. This was a fun one to play, and getting back, like mentioning the collecting things where you can find some of the lore and all that. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but when you have some of those items that has some hidden details on it, while you're looking at it, when you get in the area of where the hidden detail is, there's like a little tone. It's like a little buzz.
Buzz.
Yeah.
I didn't even recognize that.
Yeah, I noticed it each time, and it helped me clue in on where is this detail that I'm looking for. And when I hear that buzz, like, okay, when it finally pops up, it's like, oh, that is interesting, because they do mention like all these neat details about like the cultures and all that, and the items. And when they have that hidden little detail, it's surprising. And like there was times I could just turn. Where is it? Oh, it's right there. There it is.
Another thing we hadn't mentioned yet that made me really like this game so much is I found out that I really like games where I have to craft and I have to find supplies. Yes. So every enemy I kill, okay, I'm going to get more stuff to upgrade my guns. I'm going to get more stuff to make arrows. Like that really drove me in this game. Is full of that. It's full of getting equipment or getting parts to upgrade equipment, upgrade items, upgrade your packs, how much you can carry.
Made more sense than what was in the previous game of, okay, we just find salvage and we just add it to the gun.
Yeah. Exactly.
It was much better.
No, I definitely love that feedback loop. I am a sucker for like a good feedback loop, and I feel like this not only kept me going through the game itself, but it also made me want to go back to find more stuff just to sort of scratch that itch. And then going back into combat when I did, I felt like it kept up. What's the best way to put it? I never felt like I was underpowered because of that. Like I felt like the combat was better as a result of kind of going above and beyond with that stuff without feeling like I was just a complete unstoppable goddess.
Yeah, you never feel like a juggernaut in this game. You can get your ass handed to you if you're stupid.
Absolutely.
Even on easy. I got murdered a few times when I tried to I'm going to go out, and I'm like, yeah, you can't take people out. You need to hide.
You and I both play on working dad mode, which is easy, but it's nice to say working dad mode because it Makes you feel better than
That's how
easy.
I play most
Live with me,
games. Easy is for when you want the game to be fun.
Yes.
Hard is when you want it to be stressful.
Yeah. And I do not have that in me anymore. I only have so much time in the day. Kiddo goes to bed. I got maybe 90 minutes before I'm too tired to do anything. So that is prime gaming time. And easy mode it is. Otherwise, I would probably still be playing Dead Space, like right now.
But also, like, I think easy mode is a good thing for this game, too, because this game can get challenging, but also lets you really experience the environment, because they did so much in the way that the environments feel. Like, you go from Syria, you go to Siberia, you have your ice-cold mountains, you have an oasis you're running around in the mountains that are not frozen solid, like, and it does a good job. My only question is, why does she never wear a fucking hat?
Well, she clearly is getting, like, hypothermia here as somebody, like, she's still wearing like her fucking khakis in the opening when she's climbing a mountain. She's wearing skin tight pants. Like, what's
that's because I just want to show off her ass.
I mean, which I'm not complaining about. There's a lot of great butt
yes.
shots. Wow, how long have we been recording this? I almost made it an hour without talking about a butt, Mike. What is wrong with you?
You're welcome.
Oh my god,
she have a nice
butt
ass,
shots
okay?
in this. It's just, oh my god. And in this game, she does have two big, heaving, meaty, handful of pistols, which I had a problem in the first game with her not having those. She has them this time. She can dual wield them. She has two of them, one for each hand. And also, yes, lots of upward climbing. So if you like looking at butt, Rise of the Tomb Raider gets two very big, meaty thumbs up.
Which I was 100% okay with. I found out too. So, but it's like everything with this game, like it was. I mean, again, like this idea. I want to go back to the stupid thing, but like, why don't women wear hats sometimes? I swear. I mean, this speaking from experience. I have dated the women that have dated. Most of them never wore hats.
As a dude with long hair, I don't know, like, why women in video games. I don't know IRL.
Oh, real life too.
I don't know, but yeah, no hats. Like, I work outside. Like my hair comes untied from the ponytail, you know, because I work outside. So I wear a functional man bun and I put it underneath the hat just so it doesn't get caught in shit. And I don't know why more women don't do that, both IRL and in a video game.
I don't know why they didn't give her a hat in this game.
Aren't they worried about it? Like the front side hairs, like blowing in the wind, getting in your face. Aren't you worried about it getting caught in a drill press?
I think part of it, like with the cold weather and all that, the more active a person is, the more heat they generate.
Yeah, but that's still like the top of a Russian mountain. It's got to be like negative 60.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's Kelvin or Fahrenheit or Celsius. But does it matter? I know.
You don't have
Kelvin
negative for Kelvin.
is physically impossible. I know. But, shut up, nerd.
I mean, you were okay with Celsius and Fahrenheit, and you went like, let's go the other way. Isn't zero Kelvin absolute zero?
Yes.
Yeah, I think. Yeah,
okay.
I think at 0 Kelvin, atoms stop moving. So negative would like literally rip a hole in the space-time continuum, and all of our atoms would go backwards somehow. I don't know.
So that's how we time travel, huh? We get it cold enough, and then we can time travel.
I was an animal science major, so that makes sense to me. I can tell you a lot about animal dicks, but not about electrons.
Okay.
Well, we'll save the animal dicks to another episode.
So another thing I want to mention is that this game has lots of campfires. So bonfires, and you go, and this is where you go and you can camp and then do your upgrades that you get throughout the game. And your skill points is where you can craft, and they're save points, and they're also your war points, and they do a good job with that. And like the hunting, when you first start hunting in this game, I didn't hunt in the other Tomb Raider game. I mean, I would here and there, but not really.
There's not much use for it other than like salvage and stuff, or to complete a challenge. Yeah.
I hunted all the fucking time. If I saw a deer, I didn't care what I was doing. We're hunting that deer. Like it was gonna die. Hunting the deer. And there was one deer I shot it with an arrow, and the fucker ran and ran and ran, and I killed 2 other deer before I finally found the one I first hit. Because he just kept running. I couldn't get him. I couldn't hit him.
So what I'm hearing is I can get you to play a hunting game then.
If it has a story, yes.
Oh, well, I mean, the story is there's a bad deer and you have to take care of him.
Does this one have a story?
Well, I mean, I play a lot of Hunter Call of the Wild.
Okay.
So
Well,
I just
I'm
want an
holding up
excuse to do that.
Cabela's
And
Survival Shadows of Catman.
Oh my God, I'm never playing another
Cabela.
Cabela's game. I got doxxed the last time I did one of those on a podcast. So that's bad luck for me. But no, like Cabela's, I don't know, Field and Stream or Hunter Call of the Wild or Buck Hunter.
Now I gotta look up where Cabela's is headquartered.
As long as there's a story mode, you can get me to do it.
There's some very silly games in that series. They are ridiculous. I did one for a different podcast that doesn't exist anymore. No. But yes, it's the oh my God, yeah, those games get very, very ridiculous, and I think you would like them if you ever tried it.
I got more Cabela games.
Oh really? Oh yeah. Look, I have several of the Cabela's Big Game Hunters. But weirdly, man, what is that game called? I'm actually pulling it up on my Steam. But it's like Call of the Wild. It's such a fun game.
For those that can't see, I just pulled out 5 Xbox 360 Cabela games.
Have you played any of them?
Of course not.
Of course not. But you have to have them in the collection.
I was a collector of 360. If a game was $3 and I didn't own it, it was mine.
Yeah, totally.
Apparently,
now I don't do that anymore.
Cabela's is headquarters in Nebraska.
Yeah, story checks out there.
Okay, another thing that I want to talk about is you fight a bear a couple times in this game. So how realistic is this bear fight, Cody? I'm sure you fought a bear. Probably
yes.
not, but
no, I've never fought a bear. The best way to survive a bear attack is to lay on your back and start making angel type motions so that your death will be much quicker.
I was like, where are you going with this? Oh, okay.
You do not survive fights with bears. You are not Davy Crockett. You can't do it. You think you know how big a bear is, and then you see one up close, and you realize it's far bigger than that. It's bigger than most cars. Bears are terrifying.
I have never seen one besides a zoo, and I never want to see one besides a zoo.
No, I would not recommend it.
Okay,
black bears
bear.
are not that bad. Yeah, no,
I've seen black bears before.
They're like big dogs. Don't try to pet one. They can still accidentally murder you, but black bears, unless they have cubs, are generally fairly docile. Grizzlies will typically run away from you, which this is like a Russian grizzly, but no, there's no way that you survive that. If you've seen the Remnant, like I don't know if you've seen the Remnant,
I know of that.
The Revenant. Yeah, the Revenant.
You're not on a movie.
That scene I feel like was pretty accurate to how most bear attacks are, in that they'll pick you up by your back and they'll just shake you around with their big stupid head, and they'll throw you against the nearest object. They will flip you over onto your back, try to gut you. They will grab your neck, try to snap it. They will grab a limb, literally tear it off of your body. Yeah, you don't survive bear attacks. They're faster than you. They are way, way stronger than you. They have terrible eyesight, so they'll just start swinging at anything and everything way faster than you think that they can. They can climb trees. They can swim faster than you. You're going to die. Straight up. You will not survive a bear.
One of my really early jobs, the guy I remember hunted bears. He would it took him forever, but he would get a license and then he'd go hunt a bear.
Like in Alaska or Montana or Canada?
In Wisconsin.
Oh, okay. All right.
He'd go hunt a bear. I'm just like, why would you want to kill a bear?
Yeah, I mean,
again, I'm not a hunter.
I mean, bears taste really good, but like spring bears. You got to eat spring bears. They're delicious.
I can't kill anything. Like I have deer in my backyard all the time, and I would never want to kill them. I just want to pet them. I'm not going to.
Oh,
but
I have a freezer full of venison right now.
I mean, it's good meat, but I can't kill. Now, if someone kills it for me, I'll eat it, but I can't kill.
Yeah. No, and I don't kill for trophies or anything. I shoot like one doe a year, or one like cull spike, like whitetail buck, or one like cull spike axis deer per year, because the meat's really good. I don't care about trying to hunt for trophies or hunt. I mean, it's fine if you do. There's as long as you eat it, I don't care.
You don't want to lay naked next to a shark on a boat and take a picture of it.
I've never laid naked next to a shark. Okay. I know that the
you know what I'm making fun of. Right?
Wait, was that the Jimmy John's guy that did that?
The Jimmy John's guy.
Or am I mixing stories? Because that guy does weird stuff with his dead animals.
No, it's the Jimmy John's guy. There's a picture of that went around the internet, him laying naked next to a shark.
again, I don't get the compulsion to lay naked next to the shark. I get laying next to the shark.
Nobody's naked.
Or like being naked next to a live shark. We've all done that, but naked next to a dead shark is weird.
God, I wish you hadn't mentioned that. Now my mind's trying to picture it.
Yeah.
You can't see anything, but there's a picture on the internet if you want to Google it.
No,
It's
you
there.
can see it.
Oh, I don't want to
the Jimmy John's guy naked next to a shark. Yeah, we've all been naked next to live sharks. We've never been naked.
I mean, my mind just going to like.
I'm not a pervert, Mike.
Jimmy John's commercials that I've been seeing, and it's been Brad Garrett.
Well, it's not that guy.
Oh no,
Okay.
Jimmy John doesn't. The founder doesn't own it anymore.
Garrett.
Okay.
He sold it a long time ago.
No,
now
that guy
he just hunts
sucks.
things.
No, the Jimmy John's guy sucks. He shoots lions and stuff. But no, I'm very big into responsible, like culling hunts. You know, large bucks make sense because you want them to stop spreading their DNA throughout the herd, and you want to diversify a bit more. You want to shoot older does so their teeth don't fall out and they don't die of old age. You cull out spike bucks because there's usually something else wrong with them, and you don't want your other bucks to grow up as spikes, and so on and so forth. Yeah, I mean, as long as you eat something, I seriously have no issue with it whatsoever. It's lean, it's very low fat, it's as free range as you can possibly get. There's no antibiotics in it. It's not corn fed, just straight up. It's delicious meat. The
ones outside my door are corn fed. The neighbor puts out corn. They eat corn every day.
Corn. But
nobody's shooting them.
Feedlot beef, you know, it's very different from feedlot beef that has all kinds of crap in it. Now, eating straight up deer meat or just like really good dove meat or pheasant meat, quail, something that's harvested, that's living out in the woods, I think is the best meat that you can possibly.
Oh, one last thing on animals.
Wild duck's great.
Off topic that I want to say is a couple of days ago I killed 2 mice by accident because I set traps and I didn't get any mice for weeks. I thought my mice problem was done, so I didn't check the traps.
Did you eat them, Mike?
I did not eat the mice.
How dare you?
And I felt terrible when I found them dead. Like, it made me feel bad because normally I catch them with a live trap. And then I take them to the park and I drop their little asses off and like get away from my house, but go live somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I felt terrible.
No, I'm not
because I killed them because I didn't think they'd be there, so I didn't check.
No, I don't like.
Well, you got to talk to those cats and tell them they got to do their jobs.
Which is what I do.
It's the one room they can't get to.
I keep barn cats, and their pee keeps them away. So.
You know, my cats have hunted. They kill a couple of the mice, but the traps are in a room that they can't get access to on purpose. So that way the mice run into that room and they find the peanut butter and go in the trap and they don't come out.
No, I keep ornery barn cats. They are very, like, outdoor cats are very different from indoor cats.
Mine are lazy.
Oh no, like lean, cheetah skinny, outdoor, half feral barn cats. I mean, those things can like kill an elk. Okay. They are scrappy and they will kill every single mouse that they can find just for fun. And then they'll leave it dead on your porch just to like talk shit. Be like, look at what I did. How many mice have you killed? And they'll just drop it just right there. I wasn't even hungry. This is for you. Eat it.
Another thing about the animals in this game is that you also have exotic animals in this game throughout the game.
Yeah,
every time
there's snow leopards. Exactly.
That was cool. I killed every single one of those exotic ones.
Mike, you monster.
In a game,
endangered,
I will
Mike.
kill them. Now, if I saw one in real life, I just want to pet it. I wouldn't dare because it would kill me, but I would want to pet it.
And they have lynx, which are also cats. Big fun lynx.
I want to pet those too, but they would probably kill me too.
Yeah, no, they definitely would. Lynx will lie to you too. Lynx will act like regular house cats, and they'll purr and they'll like rub their head close to you to try to get the pet, and then they will just take your entire hand off. Never trust a lynx.
That's why I don't pet wild things. You know.
Well, I didn't say that. I mean,
I do have to admit that it was fun to quote hunt the animals in this one, especially to get some of the items you need to add to your weaponry and that.
Yes.
Yeah.
For the crafting purpose. I mean, I understand getting the material that you need. That's respectable. Sometimes if you need to get past something dangerous and it's if you got the big cat in your way or the big bear in your way, yeah, you gotta get that out of your way. You
do what you gotta do.
And I do like that your first bear encounter, you get introduced to the poison arrows.
Yes.
Which I never used.
Yeah.
You schmuck.
You're not surprised, are you? I saved them the entire game.
Arrows were great. They were great. It's like, I mean, getting past that bear with the poison arrows, that's a great way to weaken the bear.
Oh, we just played roller. We played roll around the bear and put arrows in his body.
That's what I did.
played.
Well, yeah, you do that too. I mean, you don't
It took a while,
have
though.
like
Fuck,
Yeah,
it took
it does.
arrows.
once you have the guns, it's like boom.
I actually didn't use the guns for a good chunk of the game and only used the bow until I realized I need to stop playing like that because the game is designed when you get into some of the gunfight, you have to use guns because it's designed that way. The enemies, they're less kill room, but the enemies can be very tough and they do get upgraded and they will murder you fast if you try to be stupid. Like I kept trying to use the bow because I have
like the flamethrower guys.
Yes. Fucking murder.
Those were nasty. I mean, yeah, it's funny when they realize they're about to die. It's like
I love the idea in this game, like for story wise, that you had like this encampment of people who were from the Prophet all those years ago who were just living out in the woods, essentially, and built a town. I love that.
Simple life.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do that. I mean, yes, I've become dependent on technology, but you can't fault that simple life.
I couldn't do it. I need internet.
Minus internet. I'm not too far off from that. I have a garden out in the yard. I raise animals. I live out in the woods pretty much. It's nice. Although I still do have a Walmart not far from my house, but just the idea of it, yes, it's very nice.
I could see you living in a cabin and surviving completely.
Yeah, that's kind of what I do. And I could. That's something that I absolutely do.
I couldn't. This fat fucker would not make
it's nice. After I've been without internet. Like that's something that I've done like in my adulthood is we'll go out and we'll camp for 3 or 4 days at a time out in the middle of the desert where our phones literally do not work. You can't even dial 911 if you want to. And we just take all of our like wild pig meat and dove and eggs and sides of bacon, and we go out and we build a big bonfire and we cook our meat over it, and just have a big old bonfire. And we go swimming in the river and we just live off of our phones for 3 or 4 days. And pre-cut. No, it's amazing. And I'm telling you, just sleep outside. After the second day, you kind of forget about it. Your phone just stays in your car. Like there's books. And you can just sit and you can read a book. It's amazing how fast your brain will go back to where it should be.
I used to be very much into hanging out in wildlife, and like 6 years ago before I met my wife, or 7 years, whatever, 7 years ago, I don't even remember anymore. I remember one time I went down by the Minnesota River and I was wandering in the swamp, and my dumbass kind of stayed out too late, and it was starting to get dark out, and my phone's dying. That was my flashlight essentially. And I'm like, if I don't get back in time, they're going to tow my car. And I remember I had the wonderful idea. I'm just going to go across the swamp. It'll be fine. Yeah, I was almost up to like my thighs in mud.
Yeah, it sounds right. Yeah. Swamps. As somebody that grew up on the bayou, literally, swamps ain't nothing to fuck with.
No, I learned my lesson real fast. So
I believe it.
It was a fun time though.
But no, like you would be surprised how quickly your body can adapt to it. Living in that way, like you're romanticizing it for a reason. And now I think most people are capable of living in that way. They just don't allow themselves to be put in that kind of position. And I would highly recommend anybody taking a long weekend where your phone literally does not work. So you're not even tempted to use it because it won't work even if you want it to. And just spend a few days sleeping out somewhere and just sort of living in that kind of way. And I think you would really dig it. It sounds like it would suck. The first day it would, but after that, I think you'd really like it.
Well, it'll probably never happen, but yes.
Of course, that's going to be 99% of anybody listening to this will not do that.
I can't. My life is too busy. And
I need to have something like in the background making some sound anymore.
Oh no, nature does that for you, man. I'm telling you, when you come out here, like I should take I wish I could take the mic out back right now because you won't hear any cars running. But
you'll hear everything else though.
You'll hear everything else. You'll hear crickets. You'll hear June bugs right now. You'll hear coyotes howling. You'll hear birds making noise up in the tree.
Oh, yeah.
It's incredible.
I'm not going to argue that. I mean, I've lived in a few places. Actually, come to think of it, where I currently live, I have the window open right now. I don't hear any cars, which is kind of ironic because just down the road is actually one of the more major routes in Pennsylvania.
Wow.
Okay.
But they don't have to come up here. Yes, I still live in a community. I mean, there's houses across the street next door and, in each direction, but you don't hear anything go by.
It's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice. I mean, here it's that exact same way. Like the road I'm on is kind of off the beaten path. It's still close enough to town, but it's far enough away that there's not really very much through traffic. So the only really city noise, the only kind of human noise that you'll really hear out here is like the occasional chainsaw massacre. Other than that, beautiful.
Tell Leatherface to keep his business at home.
Oh no, we don't worry about other people's ranches. The nearest neighbor's place is about 3 miles down the laneway there, and if I start hearing some, that's on them. That's on them.
All right. Another thing about Tomb Raider, about this game, is that...
All right, we're talking about Tomb Raider, aren't we?
Yeah.
Off and on. This is normal. I'm not surprised.
Hey,
we're playing a game about survival, essentially. Yeah. So, that's what happens.
Yeah.
But, there's only so much to say about this game anyway, so... Because the story is very much just kind of... You just experience the adventure that she's going through. But one thing that stands out to me is you meet a character a bit early in the game that's in jail with you, who... I forget his name. Is it Matthias or Matthew?
No.
The fuck is his name? Jacob.
Yeah, that's it.
And I really like Jacob. I think he's a good character, and like the way that they string him along throughout the game, where he's helping you, you think he almost dies, but he's always just survives. And then when you finally get to the point where your buddy was stabbed and dying, they're like, "Oh, go get Jacob. He'll save him." And he heals him. And she's like, "Wait a second, you're the prophet."
Yeah, I mean,
love
that was very well done.
The guy that looks like Jesus turned out to be the prophet.
I didn't see it coming though.
I kind of saw it coming,
but again, I really liked it.
No, I did really like him too.
The story
Although I love how concerned that his followers were for him. Like they would be like, "Oh no, Jacob," and I'm like, he can't die, right?
You would think so.
Yeah, like it's fine. Like you can slice him down. Like I would play with that a little bit. Were I Jacob, I would like cut my own head off, roll it out of the jail cell, and then like hop with the keys in my mouth like I was some sort of Looney Tune.
I'm wondering if that wouldn't work, but maybe. maybe there'd be a bunch of sparks if you cut off his head, huh?
Yeah, I mean,
there has to be some limitations to it. I mean, there has to be some semblance of the body left.
I mean, he got shot full of bullets. I mean, didn't they say that they like set his followers on fire and they didn't die or something? Or am I just?
If you read all the documentation that you get, they talk about how they kept killing the prophet, but he kept coming back.
Right,
they couldn't believe it was the same person all the time.
Yeah, right. Which I really like. I mean, all that added to the story.
Yeah,
and we haven't talked about yet. I want to talk about another thing: the tombs. This game has a lot of optional tombs, which really are tombs, and I did a few, but I think there's a ton in this game,
and they're all really good. The tombs in this are way better than the first one. I love the first one the best. The ship that was really cool because it was like falling down, it was like hanging right off the cliff. Yeah, which is kind of funny that the first one I thought was the best, but yeah, no, I did. They were all very creative. They were very fascinating. I thought the puzzles were a lot more intricate than they were in the first game. They definitely stood. They definitely stood on the shoulders of the last game, where I enjoyed those, but most of them were kind of like one trick, whereas this had like multiple different aspects to try to solve the big puzzle.
Oh yeah,
they were all very cool. And in this one, you don't get a level up; you get new skills, like you can shoot your arrows faster or something. I think was one of them. Or there
was like classically trained, where like you're. Yeah, there's like a reticle. I don't know.
But cool stuff, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It definitely incentivized you once you got past the first one. You're like, oh, okay, I'm going to get something that I can't get anywhere else by completing these.
And that made me I actually did a bunch of them, except for the ones where like I couldn't find them, or I got near the end of the game. I just said, fuck it, because it's me.
Yeah.
I just need to move on. I mean, every game does it. Like when I started playing Kingdom Hearts, was the next game for the show, I was like, I'm gonna beat the secret bosses. I'm gonna do this, and I'm like, fuck it. I want to beat the game and move on.
Thank you for leaving me out of that. By the way, I went nowhere near Kingdom Hearts. I know it's allegedly not that complicated, but
first game is doesn't.
Just give me the music for Kingdom Hearts. I'll be happy.
Yeah, that's all you need.
Acceptable.
Just watch a video.
Acceptable.
And also, this game does a good job with the skill points. You have 3 different trees you're able to choose from that really do change how Laura plays, and you could. I did a lot of the stuff where she would find more salvage, or she would find more items for animals, and that's what my Laura was very good at. And then later on, I started doing more combat, because this game is not crazy about combat. It's all about parkour, which I love that, and puzzles and exploring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, though, you can have like enemies respawn.
Yeah, but even then, I felt like when you get a lot of stealth opportunities where like there's ways that you can distract the enemies, and the game will also show you if you kill this guy, will the other guy notice or not. So it was a really good stealth system in this game.
Yeah.
Yes, that was very good.
Impressed.
That's something you have to utilize very well. And it can surprise the hell out of some people, especially if like, okay, he's over there.
Or I would throw cans and make him go look and then go murder him.
Or I'll take this guy out. Okay, get over there quick. Bring the body. Run away.
Yep.
Hey,
I never did that.
Man down.
What I did do a couple times is I lit people on fire, and they wouldn't know it was me. They thought someone just started a fire, and then they would come out and then they get shot in the head with arrows.
Which goes back to when I just makes me go back to the flamethrower guys. I mean, those guys were tough, but bang, 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 bang on that tank. Oh no, get off.
If I ever joined the military, which I never will, I would never want a flamethrower. I'd be like, no, I don't want a giant explosive thing on my back. I'm good. I'll take the
I think those got discontinued for a reason.
Yes.
Because people would shoot them and they go.
Yeah, I saw that. I think that was in like Saving Private Ryan or something.
Yes, they didn't get.
No, it looks horrifying. I would be nothing like but paranoid. You are carrying a giant of a target that's attached to you.
They were discontinued after Vietnam, because in Vietnam is when they started using napalm, where it's sticky. So if you got shot with that, you would be sticky fire that burns and kills you while you're screaming.
Oh, okay. So if we could only make that more horrifying, where if you stop, drop, and roll, it somehow makes it worse.
It won't stop it. I mean, you're just.
Oh my God.
Then how the hell does Trinity be using those old tanker things that boom, boom, boom,
I think
using the napalm?
Trinity don't give a shit.
I think that they bought those from Elon Musk. Thank you.
Trinity don't care, and that's what I think is so
piss
good.
Off everybody in this podcast. Who all can I talk about during this that's going to upset somebody? You are welcome, Mike. For all of the angry comments that you're going to get.
Actually, I don't get very many. I'm not big enough that I get a lot of angry comments.
But
I did have one person tell me I get too political.
Right? And it's like, hey, he's like, your podcast name sounds dumb. And you're like, oh, thank you.
Uh-huh. I was like, this is awesome.
Cody, are you still trying to run for governor?
Yes, yes. Okay. They have not returned my phone calls, which is surprising. I submitted the ballot, and they have not recognized me. I made the whole thing. I said, Kansas, you're going to be on the honor system. And for whatever reason, I think I've sent them 3 or 4 emails. I've called them at least twice, and they will not answer me back. And I have no idea why. Probably because I
don't live in that state.
But that's not a requirement for running for the governor of Kansas. You don't actually have to live in the state of Kansas.
They might change that law real fast.
I think that they're actively trying to change that law specifically because of me.
Some dumbass on a podcast went, I'm going to go run for it.
And after they hear all this, they're like, oh, we don't have to worry about it now. He's pretty much getting rid of all his voters.
Yeah, well, I don't think I had that many voters to begin with. Here I was talking about video game butts, which I think this is the 4th. I think I've talked about butts on everything except Alice. I think was the only one where I didn't talk about it.
Yes, but she's also younger, so that was probably better.
Yeah, which is why I didn't. I'm not a monster, Mike. I was much more in which, by the way, Laura's great, but that lady from Dead Space, what was that? Dead Space 1 or 2?
2.
Yeah, 2, dude. The butt.
Well, 1, you were Isaac. Was the guy? It was Isaac.
Oh yeah, no, Isaac has. I mean, Isaac's packing, but Ellie has an absolute dump truck where you thought I photoshopped. Like, oh my God. But no, Laura's like the 3rd best butt that I've played on this. It's like Ellie, then like Solid Snake, and then Lara Croft. in that
Okay.
order for games that I've played for this podcast.
Leon didn't get on there.
Fourth. You know what? Tweedledee is fifth, not Tweedledum, just Tweedledee.
Okay.
Yeah, and then that's your top 5.
I don't even remember how it's been so long. But trying to think of some other things I want to mention in this game. Like, this game does puzzles very well. They do the upgrade system very, very good of giving you new upgrades and new ways to traverse throughout the game, so you don't feel like you're getting bored or worn out. There's always new things coming, and they're spread out enough. Like, I mean, yes, I got to a point where I wanted to finish this game, but that's me and my life.
Yeah.
But I was always entertained. Like, I loved picking up this game. I played it, this is not me at all. I played this game for like 5-6 hours on a day off, and I just couldn't stop. And that,
nice.
Even though I play games nonstop, like for the show, I don't play that long in one day. Like, I never put 6 hours in one sitting, and I just could not stop playing.
Yeah.
I was having so much fun.
I can get that. I would try and play like initially for like a half hour with these games, and I'm like, okay, half hour. Unless I had to really like go to work, do my job, I'm like, keep going.
Yeah.
I had a weekend where my wife was working all day.
Let's see, I was going to play it for a half hour. It's almost midnight.
It's that feedback loop, man. You just want to keep unlocking new stuff so that you can kill dudes better.
Yeah,
and then you kill dudes and you find more stuff to let you unlock more stuff.
And you know what I liked in
story's
this too?
good.
Oh yeah, and the story. Yeah.
I liked the missions.
We haven't talked
That
about
was a nice
Oh
addition.
yeah. Yeah, that was a whole other
Because
thing that we
it adds to the story.
Where you help the natives.
Oh yeah.
You
No,
help
it
the natives,
definitely
you gain your
fleshes it all out.
trust. And I mean, some of these challenges they were clever. Some of them you don't see right away. I mean, I had to look up some of them.
Yeah, same.
And I have a giggle. It's like, chuck the pumpkins into the baskets. I'm like, that's the challenge. I would have even thought of that.
Yeah.
But I mean, some of them are just right there, and it's like easy to do, and some of them are like burn the, Russia not first, burn the cosmonaut posters, and like, okay, well, there's that one. There's like, where's the? Oh, you son of a bitch!
Yeah,
put
and
that wall up there.
Yeah.
But that was like what made this game so cool. Is it made the world feel livable too. That you're helping these, random villagers. Like, one thing I want to talk about is one of the DLCs. Is we played, or at least I played and I know Richard did the 20th anniversary version of this, or Tomb Raider's 20th anniversary, not the game, but it had one of the DLCs called Baba Yaga. It incorporates it into the main game.
Yeah,
it's just
brilliant.
It was wonderful because I wouldn't have played it otherwise. And did you play it, Cody?
No, I actually did not end up playing it.
Maybe because the version he had didn't get the DLC.
No, 360 wouldn't have had it.
No, I didn't. That's how I just went back to the 360. I kind of even didn't realize this had it until you just told me very recently. So I was like, oh, that'll be a good time for me to refill my drink while y'all talk about Baba Yaga and the mansion.
The mansion we'll save for the end. That's kind of a sequel.
Baba Yaga, that one was brilliantly done because they incorporate into the story. They incorporate into the background of the series of the game. I mean, Baba Yaga is is key to folklore in the Slavic regions. And it was so nice to see it in there and how they could explain it away. I mean, everything you see happening is because of those damn flowers.
It was a very Scarecrow vibe from Arkham.
Yeah.
Where she starts hallucinating and she sees demon wolves and like demon people and nothing makes sense. And she realizes I'm on drugs.
See the chicken house.
Yeah. And she realizes I'm on drugs. That's what this is. I'm drugged up.
And it was so beautifully done because you get introduced to it basically at the campgrounds. So
midway point of the game.
Yeah. With this girl sort of hiding there, and you have to go into the veil, which is another thing. I love that. Beyond, they mentioned the veil. I've heard lots of lore speak of the veil. I mean, we even saw the going beyond the veil, like back in Eternal Darkness. But it explained away how this came about so beautifully, that it wasn't really Baba Yaga, but with all the drugs and the hallucinogenic things, you find out so much.
And the whole idea is that she was a prisoner of the Soviets, and she learned how to make an antidote because she was one of the scientists, and then she said "fuck you" and killed all her captors.
Yeah.
I loved it, and she'd kind of gone insane.
She also thought her husband was dead. She thought her husband was dead,
which makes sense. The Soviets lied,
but
in this concept,
he was alive.
So it was good.
his granddaughter was helping him try and find her. And when you figure everything out, it's like, whoa.
And it was a really good boss fight too, where you had to she's in a pot, flying pot.
Well, if you know the lore of Baba Yaga, she has a flying mortar and pestle.
Okay. But it was good. You had to you had to use the rope arrows to bring her to you. You had to then shoot her and then light her on fire essentially, and then you did it 3 times, like a normal video game thing, and then you win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good. It's a very good DLC.
Yeah. And of course, it's designed that you've played through the game already, because they don't tell you anything about some of the things you see in there. You have to literally figure it out if you hit it out of order. Which
I thought was fine.
Yeah,
the 2 things I still want us to. Well, like one of the things we should cover we haven't yet. We haven't talked about the deathless ones yet.
Oh yeah. Which
I'm big. I love, as I've said before, I love the Supernatural and the Uncharted and Tomb Raider games. And so the Supernatural in this part is, if we kind of joked about it very early in the recording, is this army of medieval soldiers who were following the prophet, who then the prophet used the divine source to make his army. They can't die, so now they just live under a glacier and protect the old city.
And they seem very, very upset about it.
Yeah.
Well, they're very devoted to protecting it.
Yeah.
But it's like when you read the lore again, and oh my God, that area has one of the funnest challenges to complete, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Lighting all those signal towers.
Oh, yeah.
That was like...
I'm like,
how do I do it with the bow and arrow? No, I have to use that big catapult thing.
The trebuchet, which that's the only thing that I didn't much care for, is how long it took. Like that to me, just using that thing slowed everything down a lot.
Yeah, but it was fun to actually...
It was fun. It was very satisfying to hit, but I feel like it took forever for me to aim it. If I had one criticism for that, it would be the trebuchet part of it. But you are correct. Lighting the signals for Gondor might have been the most fun side mission.
I didn't do that, but that's fine.
But also, when you look at the lore that's of someone who's survived their attacks and is now hiding in the city, it's like, I watched them.
And there's like the Mongols.
They died, but they're coming back.
And like joining the ranks. Yeah.
It was really cool.
It was like an early Trinity soldier. He's like, we don't want this. We don't want this at all.
Well, they fuck everybody up. I mean, these guys are powerful and they can't die because they're just a bunch of armor essentially. So you can't kill them. You can
detain them for a while and they'll be right back. It's like, hello.
Yeah. There's nothing you can do.
It was very cool. I mean, they're saved for the ending. Like they're referenced throughout the game here and there, kind of like how the Tomb Raider 1 was, or Tomb Raider 2013. Yeah. But they saved your encounters when you're running around the hidden city, which I thought also really looked like an Assassin's Creed city from the early game, which I love too.
Actually, yeah. No, I definitely like that they did this, what they did with the Oni in the first game, where like you might see like the foot or like what's her nose was like it's like killing my men right now. What chance do you have against the mountain? And and in your brain, like it's the whole like effect of Jaws, where like we're like you don't see the shark for the first 2/3 of the movie. Because whatever you're building up in your brain is going to be better than whatever you actually see.
Yeah,
and I feel like that. Yeah, theater
of the unknown is the scariest.
And I think we should also mention at this point, though, I don't know if it might have been revealed a little bit earlier before you hit the city, but you're not dealing with the full Trinity forces.
No, they're like worldwide, apparently.
Yeah. But Anna and Constantine sort of went a little rogue.
Okay.
Not getting the big leader in on this, because they viewed the divine source as restart the world.
Yeah.
But it's not that. You don't restart the world with this thing.
You just resurrect the dead. Or keep people from dying, essentially.
Yeah.
But they misunderstood this. But you heard her say, if Trinity gets here, we're out. We can't. Mm-hmm. We can't do what we want to do with it.
Another scene I want to talk about is like when you first see Anna again, and there's a part where you get captured, and the main villain Constantine is like, he starts choking her with a wire, telling you, "What do you know? What do you know?" And you're like, "I don't know anything." And then she's like, "You can stop." She doesn't know, and then you figure out that they're working together. And I thought that was a good scene too.
Yeah.
And fighting the deathless ones, this is where I just gun constantly. Like I use the shotgun a ton, which is a really good shotgun in this game.
Absolutely. That shotgun has such a weight to it that is just that thwoomph, that shotgun thwoomph. I love a good video game shotgun. Like it's I feel like that is one of the most underrated joys in life there is to be found is a good video game shotgun.
Well, the shotgun in these games has also been basically a tool.
Yeah.
Because it's the only way to blow away certain barriers.
Exactly.
And this game does a really good job of that.
No, you can use fire arrows on certain barriers, but the shotgun's like...
Yeah, just blow it away. No, it definitely, if you're playing this game for the first time, it doesn't feel like it, but it avoid any pistol upgrades and upgrade the shotgun as much as you can. I mean, don't avoid the... I
upgrade everything.
Pistol. Yeah, I mean, I do too, but opt for the shotgun opt for the shotgun because by the end of that game, it makes it so much better to finish it.
I didn't use the pistol at all. I really early on, but later on it was assault rifle, shotgun, bow. Now it's just bow until they saw me.
No return, you use everything. That's
and that's what I like too. The game made me feel like I had to use all my equipment to get by. The game made me craft little things I would find to make grenades and then throw them in there. Like I would use explosive barrels and Greek fire to take out enemies. And this game really made me want to play with its system. And that is not something every game does most games does. It doesn't happen for me. I find what works. I stick to it. I don't switch up my tactics. And this game made me play differently and I loved it for it.
I rely on the bow and arrow for most of it. Until, you start getting like the flamethrower guys, then like, I can't use that bow and arrow because I ain't going to be able to stand still and hit. But if I use the gun, that works.
Curseblode. Perfect.
Yeah. And in the Endless City is probably one of the most fascinating tombs that I saw in the whole game.
Yeah.
Where it is the exorcism chamber type thing.
I didn't see this. I was done though.
Didn't do all of them. So
I was also done at this point. This is the point where, like any game, when I get near the last 10%, I check out.
I thought that was actually it was one hell of a puzzle to solve because you have to utilize the sulfur, the combustible gas, and you have to be. If you don't do it and dive into the water, you're dead.
Yep.
You have to raise something up. Oh, well, we can't raise this all the way up because we got a thing that you got to cut. Ha, ha, ha. And it's underwater. Ha, ha, ha.
Okay, I'm happy I did not do this then.
No, it's very frustrating, but very fun at the same time.
Oh, yeah. But once you get, I forgot what I got for what skill got added at that part. I think it was even more potent Greek fire or something like that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
You get some good skills. I didn't look up a list, but just the few that I found throughout the game are all good.
No, and this has been about a week ago, so I'm still trying to remember exactly where everything was. Yeah.
Also,
been a lot longer for me.
Another thing I want to point out is that this game only really has one area that's very heavy in combat, and that's the final area of the city that you're in, the ancient city. The rest of this game is mostly all parkour, which
I love it. Absolutely love it.
Oh, yeah.
Again, if I want to go shoot stuff, I'll go shoot stuff in literally any other video game. I like that this was different.
And I think the only thing the next thing I do want to cover, because we're kind of getting near the end of this, is I want to cover the ending and kind of what all happens there.
Oh yeah.
So as you're progressing through, you finally get to the city. You go through, you fight tons of the deathless ones. And then you finally get to the end of this whole thing and you find the divine treasure. But you also happen to find it with Anna. And Anna grabs it and uses it. And you see the blue flame feed into her. And at the same time, Jacob had gotten shot and the deathless ones are about surrounding you. Laura takes it and breaks it right in front of her, which ends up killing Jacob. And all the deathless ones incinerate. And he's like, I've lived long enough. Which, again, I completely believe if somebody had lived 15,000, if they're 1,300, it'd be like 7,000, 8,000 years, you'd be ready to go, I think. You'd be like, I'm done. I've seen enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like any story with immortal beings, they're almost always ready. Like, I'm ready. Like, if you, Highlander, for example, which I love, they're like, I'm ready to go after a while.
He has aged to the point that he knows that he's known for a long time that he was not a perfect being. And it's sort of, you're reaching the part where he fully realizes it because he fell in love with a woman, he had a child, which
I had a lot of children.
Which is in sort how we view true immortality.
Yeah.
We
I mean, if
continue in our bloodline.
If you lived forever, I mean, you would have, how many kids you think, I mean, especially back then where they didn't practice birth control as much, I mean, you'd have thousands of kids.
Well, back then, it's like having a kid get to about 10 years old. Hey, that's an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's why you'd have so many. Is you would need them to work the farm, and 2 of them would be lost to
disease,
to the river, or to coyotes, or to Comanche raiders, or whatever else you were having to deal with.
I'm so happy we live in the year 2022 and not 1892 or something.
It's frightening how recent that stuff was.
Yeah, it's not that far away, I know.
Yeah.
No, the Apache Wars ended less than 100 years ago. That's a real
not
thing.
Good in the 1920s, 1930s.
That was after World War I. The U.S. government was still fighting Apaches.
Yeah.
I'm happy what year we're in. I'm happy where I live.
I am too. I like living out in the woods, but I also like having a turlet that flushes.
Yes, I was at a cabin and we just had an outhouse, and you know what? I'm good. I'll take the toilet.
Yeah, no, I definitely.
Yeah.
Now, I definitely pee outside more than I pee inside, but when it comes to stuff that I need to flush, I'm very happy to have that flush.
Yeah. But with when you say about how she broke the divine source, she also didn't look at the divine source.
Oh.
Okay. So in this thing, very Indiana Jones, both Raiders of the Lost Ark and like Raiders of the Lost Ark, where she couldn't look at it, right? But then also very Last Crusade-ish, right? Where it's like
Last Crusade was not, the Holy Grail did not, it's not that you couldn't look at it.
Right. Which is why I said that was more Raiders of the Lost Ark, but there's still like the ancient relic, the guy that's lived forever, the knight that's there the whole time. There's the lady that used to bang the dad that's now turned evil. I'm saying there's a lot of things that are really similar.
She's hot in that movie. Sorry, keep going, please.
All right. But yeah, but I'm just saying that reminded me that a lot of those 2 Indiana Jones movies, which I don't know if Shadow does more for Temple of Doom stuff. I guess the first one had a lot more like Temple of Doom type stuff. Yeah. But yeah.
But nobody ripping out a heart.
No, I wish. Oh my God, hearts are delicious. But anyway.
I don't think you're kidding either. That's the worst.
No, I'm not. Oh no, deer hearts? Have you never eaten a heart?
Of course not.
A deep fried chicken heart is delicious. You put it right next to some gizzard. Anyway. I'm not even kidding, too. Yeah. I am a crazy mountain man. All right, but anyway. But yeah, I feel like this took a lot of liberty from that, but not in a way that was too obtrusive. I felt like it was more homage than anything else. And it wasn't like Last Crusade was the first piece of media to ever do that. I'm sure it's all of these tropes are as old as the hills, but it was noticeable is all I was saying. Very, very Last Crusade-ish.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's also very good, and it wraps up the story, because then she leaves and she never got the divine source, but she proved that her father wasn't crazy.
Yeah.
That this thing existed. I mean, even though she has nothing to prove it, she proved it to herself.
Yeah.
Which is what this whole game is about, is her trying to, figure out her father's last mystery that he could never figure out.
Yeah.
As well as really becoming a thorn in Trinity's side, too.
Yes.
Because she also got some, some cathartic vengeance, because Constantine, I think, was the one who took the shot that killed her father.
Yes, I believe that too.
And basically, once you take care of, that fight was something else.
It was a good fight.
Fighting that fight, that was a good fight. I still can't, he could have been a lot different if his sister didn't fuck with his mind that way.
Well, his sister's a manipulative narcissist. It's great.
Well, I think that's...
I have to appreciate that they have that bond.
Well, narcissists are very good.
She abused it.
Well, narcissists are good at that. I've dated narcissists. I worked for narcissists. I understand. Unfortunately, understand completely.
Well, I think, and that's I did like that twist on it a lot, because the religious zealot villain is an incredibly common trope, right? This guy, if you kind of believed in God and you woke up and you had like stigmata, you would go all in on it. Like, he's kind of right. Like, if that he believed that, he had an actual physical reason to believe that, and that pushes him over the edge, which makes him better than just some crackpot.
Yeah, but he was at that point where he was questioning.
Well,
and then when that happened, it's like boom.
And she's doing it for that again, that narcissistic, self-serving kind of reason. Yeah, it adds just enough to make it much more than just whatever the stereotype for either one of those types of characters would have been. They're both motivated in very believable ways that a video game had no right, or I should say this video game had no business like being that smart with it. Like if it had just been a religious nut, you would have bought it and no one would have batted an eye on it. But that little bitty extra thing sort of takes it beyond almost, past 95% of like any other kind of video game like narrative, right? Like it's so damn smart and I love it.
And it's also it added to the fact that they split off from main Trinity.
Yes.
And as we
good.
But it makes them like you still see the goal of it's shown I'm been working on Shadow right now. Mm-hmm. But you see that goal of control. Believe our faith or else.
That's never happened before.
Which has caused so much trouble for the current day.
Right.
What are you talking about?
And then of course Laura is like the only reasonable person. Nobody should have that power. Even if it's accidental, we're not capable of handling it proper. We may think we can. And maybe we could do it for a short time, but we cannot do it forever.
No, I definitely could not be trusted with that.
No, I wouldn't.
I would abuse that immediately.
And like the whole fight you're talking about earlier with the final boss is like he takes away your bow, he takes away all your weapons, you have to sneak up and stab him twice.
Yeah.
So
that's tricky.
It's not too long though. It's only twice, so they didn't overdo themselves. They didn't make it where you just want nothing to do with it. Like it was a good amount of time, I felt. So I was happy with that.
Yeah, I had to do that fight a few times just to get it done right. But I did it.
Yeah. That's about the same with me. No particular comment on that aspect of it. It was challenging, but not frustrating.
And then after he dies and Anna is survived because she kind of cured her cancer because of the divine source, even though you broke it, but it was enough to cure her. She starts to tell you that she was supposed to kill your father, but she couldn't. And that Trinity put a hit out and then somebody snipes her and says, and then you hear another voice say, leave Laura Croft. We'll save her for later. And then that's how the game ends. So it ends on a good way to continue the story, but it also is very much a contained story too, which I really like.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and that's one thing that I definitely liked about this game in general is that, like you said, like an hour and a half ago, is you did not have to, and that you didn't have to play the first game to get what's going on here. And I do like that, which is that sort of action movie feel that the mark of any good action movie is that you don't have to keep up with an overly complex, overarching narrative, but you're rewarded for it as a fan if you do.
Yeah.
And this is incredibly well balanced.
It just gives you enough to, if you've played Rise first, you want to play the Tomb Raider 2013.
Yeah.
Yeah. And vice versa.
Yeah.
And that's what I really like too. That it did that it made you so, it really grabs you with this story. Any last things you want to say about the game before we talk about that other DLC real fast?
I have a bunch of notes, but I can do those anytime. I mean, I always have notes. For a fat guy, Jonah climbs incredibly well. I wrote that. Hypothermia, ? I wrote that.
I don't know what that is.
Where does the Croft fortune come from? How did they make their money? Does anybody ever really mention that? I don't know.
I don't.
When you're rich, you just stay rich, right?
Yeah, but I don't know how the
we're talking British nobility in that.
Okay. So was like Daddy Croft the Duke of something? Because that would make a lot of sense. He owns some land.
He's always had the title of Lord.
He stole stuff for the Museum of Antiquity or something.
Probably
a general title for a prince or sovereign or a feudal superior.
So he's some kind of rich dude.
That's at least how the title came about. In the United Kingdom, the title today denotes a peer of the realm, whether or not he sits in Parliament as a member of the House of Lords.
Yeah.
So obviously the Croft family had
sat in the
some
house. Yeah, they were doing
Has
something.
money.
Yeah, but I was just curious if they'd ever mentioned how they found it. I wrote, Trinity's coming. Better look for treasure and ring some fucking bells. I don't know why. I thought that was kind of fun. Jonah's gonna die. Oh, I better collect all these GPS caches. I question Laura. I said this in the last game as well, but it makes more sense here. I question Laura's credibility as an archaeologist because she went in this tomb and she just completely fucked it up. Now in Yamatai, all of the stuff had been moved around anyway, and yeah, it sucked that like all of the old stuff burned down, but that wasn't really fully her fault. The thing in Syria, kind of 100% her fault.
Oh, yeah, that was her fault.
Yeah, it was her fault. The Syrian government should be justifiably pissed about that whole thing because it is entirely her fault. Is Trinity even really that bad compared to Laura? Because I feel like they're both kind of doing the same thing. She discovered quote unquote things. There's a lot of crown jewels and things sitting in the British Museum that weren't gotten there completely ethically. There's a lot of mummies that got eaten. Look that up. People used to eat mummies. British
Why the fuck would you eat a dead human?
Because British people are disgusting. So anyway.
It was a Victorian age.
Yeah.
Crazy age. They had money. The Victorian age, they would have mummy unwrapping parties.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So anyway, I'm saying when you compare that, is Trinity really that bad compared to them? I don't know.
Well, Trinity would not. On your part, Trinity.
Yeah.
Laura would find the stuff. Yes, she wouldn't necessarily quote. She would want to document it and keep note of it. Trinity is like, this does not agree with the faith. Burn it. Trash it.
Okay. All right. Fair.
Also, Trinities remind me a lot of the Templars in Assassin's Creed series.
Yeah, actually, very much so. I think they're kind of the same thing. I wrote just the butt. I wrote that, which we kind of talked about. Yeah, I know. A lot of upwards climbing, which was very good for that. Let's see. Wrote about that. I wrote yet again, a blonde guy is evil. Again, all blonde guys are evil, as we found out in this game.
That's okay. I'm brunette. I can believe it.
Yeah, exactly. So am I. It's fine. Let's see. The natives speak English? Question mark.
That's fine.
Let's see. Everything's going tits up. Better do an animal fetch quest. I wrote that.
Oh yeah, you had to catch chickens at one challenge.
Yeah. The village is getting burned down. Better go catch some fucking chickens. Yep. And then the rest of it I covered. So yeah, those are the notes that we did not get to do. As you know, at the end of every single podcast, I like to make sure that
I'm good with that. I want to get everything out of this, and
of course, exactly.
We mostly animal stuff and less game, but hey, that's
exactly
fine.
Lots of animal stuff. Yeah, other than that, the animals are all pretty good. If you're questioning anything about that, in fact, shockingly grounded, except for the bears, you would absolutely die if you try to roll away from a bear. Let me know how that works for you.
I don't think I'll be able to let you know.
Yeah, I
well, if it fails, we won't know. We won't
set up a camera.
Oh yeah.
If you rolled away and you survived, I lived.
And I would not believe you. So it's kind of a catch-22.
It's a trained bear.
A trained bear.
Hey, there are trained bears, aren't there?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
No, there are.
Risky to do.
I don't want to train anything that can eat me, though. I'm good.
No, absolutely. Well,
I'll train a dog.
Yeah.
I'll train cats. You know, I would even
cat
train
will
a
eat you.
Yeah, but only if I'm dead.
Yeah, but I mean, it'll
After
still.
I'm dead,
and only if they're extremely hungry.
I'm definitely no cats. Okay, so as somebody that used to work as a animal cruelty investigator as well as a professional dog catcher for a couple of cities, I will tell you, dogs will wait. Okay, so we had a very common call for us was someone dies and then we go in and we would pick up the dog or the cat, pets, and then we would take them back to the animal shelter. Dogs will usually wait about anywhere from 3 to 7 days before it'll start to eat you. Cats will wait about an hour and a half. So cats will just start eating you immediately. So
well, you know what? If I'm dead, feel
sleep
free.
well, kids. Sleep well, kids.
If I'm dead, you can have my body. Well,
then the cat gets to be a part of you. It's the circle of life. Symbol.
Another off-topic thing, but we'll finish up this part.
Yeah.
What I want to say is, I was talking to someone. He was all worried about he had surgery. He's like, "What if I don't wake up?" And I'm like, "You know what? I would be okay with that because
that's
one or two things are going to happen.
Are you kidding me?
You're either gonna wake up on the other side and realize, oh, God is real, or B, you're not going to wake up at all because God's not real. You'll never know. So you just go for it.
And then you'll just drift off. That's the best way to do it, man. Just Michael Jackson, your way out of this mortal coil.
I mean, that's the way. If I have to die, I mean, because people are always, people are scared of surgery. I'm like, no, and plus, if they kill you in surgery, especially by malpractice, then your family gets a bunch of money. So hey,
win-win. How many awful things can I say in one podcast?
We're hitting them all tonight. We're hitting everything.
I love it.
Well, you're really hitting it close to home on me there on that.
Oh, sorry.
One there,
I apologize.
I didn't know.
I didn't think about that. I'm sorry, Rich.
I mean, I'm a widower. My wife
I apologize.
died in her sleep.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No,
I'm sorry, man.
Very sorry.
I wasn't.
It's a little hard to take. I mean, yeah, of the ways to go, dying in your sleep is probably one of the best.
Well,
ways.
This is
one thing that I was recently reading, or I played Mystical Ninja, and the real life person Goemon, they killed him by putting him in boiling hot oil.
Yeah, that's
Ooh.
nasty.
When I read that, I'm like, I'm like, I'd rather just get shot in the head, hang, no, everything but oil. Like, no, thank you.
I mean, let's be real, and animals probably gonna
like I said,
me
when
at
it
some
comes
point.
to we do think, dying in your sleep. Yes, that's probably one of the most peaceful ways to go. But it's a hell of a shock to wake up next to it.
Yeah, I can't imagine, Richard. I'm sorry about that. I didn't know that.
It's all right. It's okay.
Yeah,
I knew part of it, but I
didn't know that.
It's kind of a shock when you're.
For let me jackass myself.
It's when at the age of 40.
Yeah, I can't imagine, Richard.
Yeah,
that's terrible. I'm very sorry. If I'd have known that, I wouldn't have.
It's like I said, it's okay. I mean, it was hitting close to home. That's why I was just staying on the quiet side there.
No, thanks for letting us know about that. I wouldn't have wanted to push it had I known that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't mean to be jackasses on purpose.
Sorry, man.
Not for
I
that.
know. And
Other stuff,
like I said,
we mean it.
Talking about someone passing away, we might as well move on to the mansion here.
Okay.
The mansion. Okay, so I wasn't sure if I was going to play this. I actually only played it because you mentioned it, Rich, and I was like,
oh yeah,
okay, I'll try it. I went into it with not really thinking much, but it's a DLC that came with the version that me and you were playing, and it's really it's just a puzzle. It's just a long puzzle.
Yeah. Going
from room to room, figuring out what happened to your father, and trying to find your will so you don't lose the mansion because your uncle is going to take it away from you.
Yeah, and you're learning more about Laura's mother's passing in the process. And I enjoy it. Yeah, it was a nice little puzzle. You learn so much more lore. Like you have, they bring back a mention of the butler, Winston.
I did like that.
And they were even some of the documents you find. It's like beautiful. Like she locked him in the freezer.
I did laugh at that.
And that is like, gee, how many people have locked Winston in the freezer in the original Tomb Raider 2?
Everybody who played it probably almost.
Yeah.
Well, of course, with all his farting around.
Right.
It was a really good little puzzle, and it's such a good father-daughter type moment where you learn so much about Laura and you learn about their connection, and there's no combat. It's just you running around this place just exploring, and this is where you find her mother because his mother had went missing, but he found her and he put her in a tomb in the mansion hidden because he was going to bring her back to life one day. And that was it's intense.
Yeah. And it's sort of like there were so many nice little nods. Like you go when you get into the library and you start the phonograph and you get the mansion music from the original Tomb Raider games. Some of the music you would hear in that, it's like do 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 do. That was so like, oh my god, that just made me smile. And they even gave reference to those original games. You mean you find something about the Dagger of Xi'an?
Oh yeah, that's 2, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they find there's other things that are so nice in there, and it's a nod to the original, to the roots of the series in there. And it helps to learn so much. I mean, I thought it was kind of cute that as a kid, he took her they set up a little tomb raiding exhibition or Tomb Raider game.
It was really cute.
Yeah.
It made me think a lot, because I'm also a father, I'm not a daughter, I have a son, but it made me really think of that. All 3 of us are fathers, so I really like that. It's a good, it's also something way worth playing if it's on, especially on the version that you have for free.
Yeah.
If you got it on Epic.
Yeah.
You definitely have to play because it's just.
I played the Steam. I'm assuming it's on Epic. I played the Steam version, which had it, but I'm assuming the Epic version has it too. So.
Yeah, and it was so nice. It's like once you finish it, like when you finish it after the game, you actually have all your treasures from the second game are in there. So it's like saying, okay, this is set after the game, after Rise of the Tomb Raider, which is kind of perfect.
I really liked it.
And it shows also Laura's mother's family did not overly care for Richard Croft.
Which I feel like makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
He sounds like he was a nut, so.
Yeah. No.
But he was a nice nut. I mean, he wasn't an ass. Like, if Laura's mother had done what her family had wanted, she would be married to some stuffed shirt. I mean, she fell in love with Richard Croft, and it's like, but we were going to announce your engagement to this fellow.
No, I can definitely tell you that's typically the way it actually goes. I mean, like, yeah, if you're kind of an eccentric dude, women do typically marry the guy that works at the bank, not the guy that rides buffalo around or goes off and searches for the fountain of youth.
Very
Yeah,
true.
but there was something, but there was always something about they found what meshed with them.
Yeah.
And yes,
Yeah.
I did enjoy doing the whole treasure hunt and all that because it was so inventive.
And it does a good job of having you find different pieces of equipment that you need to then open a different door or a crowbar. It's very good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, should we go on to questions, comments, or memories?
Let her
Of
rip.
course.
All right. I did get a few. We'll see how many I read because this episode's gone long. So,
It always does when I'm here, Mike.
so first, yeah, you're not wrong. First from the Tomb Raider fan group, from Sari Lee Lawrence. I'm halfway on it now at the Flooded Archives on my 60th time, and I have not died so far. That's pretty good.
Oh, that was a challenge area,
Yeah.
too.
Richard Bishop. I much prefer the one before this. Kind of got bored halfway through Rise. I'm not a fan of the Deathless guys. Okay.
Now, I will say I did like the aesthetic of the Oni and the Samurai more,
Same.
but I still thought the Deathless were pretty cool.
I like these better.
Yeah.
Okay.
And from Ashley Hayward, Rise is my favorite of the three reboot games. I love the story and the characters were awesome. Here's a good one from Jesus Gonzalez. 8/10, but with DLC is 9/10. The story sucks. Sorry. Okay.
Well, then he must have also
this
hated
is why
the
you
first
have
one.
to hunt down everything.
And then I watched the entire Orbulid Super replay. I got a couple. From Zach Zek. I really love the Soviet winter level. I forget what happened when you learn the different languages, but I really like fighting the stone pillars with the different languages. Same.
Yeah, same.
Well,
All of
but the
what
more
he
you
said.
learn of the more you learn of the languages, the more difficult pillars can be understood.
That's why they're so
And
good. Yeah,
From
all of
Quentin
them.
Crowe, if Uncharted was a Disney property, then the Tomb Raider reboot is WB's grim/gritty counterpunch. The trilogy was a great retelling of Laura's story, and it was cool that they delved into the fact that she was indeed a grave robber and the stakes were present in every scene.
I mean,
Yeah.
you ain't wrong.
From Adam Walker, it's my favorite game of the reboot trilogy. Improved on the gameplay of the 2013 game and felt bigger in all the best ways. It was actually the last game I completed on Xbox 360 before finally getting Xbox One. All right. Let's see here from Giant Bomb. From John Silverman. Yeah, I really liked all the new Tomb Raider games. The middle one was pretty forgettable but fun. But the stories of the first and third were super cool, and I adored the new gameplay loop. Making a Metrovania was very smart. And
Yeah,
from
same. Yeah.
Mhm.
Daniel Jones. This seemed to be the most critically acclaimed game of the reboot trilogy, but I remember being pretty disappointed with it. I really preferred the progression and the isolated island setting and Metrovania structure of the first game. And from Rick Watson, trying to decipher late 360 game when the Xbox One had been out for nearly 2 years when this game came out. But I call it late 360 game because it was on 360.
Yeah. Yeah.
Late.
Very late 360 game.
Yeah.
From Barbara Billings, this was my first Tomb Raider and first did it on Xbox One. Now doing it in VR. Wow, it's amazingly fun. Okay, this would be cool in VR.
Yeah, I can see that.
I could see. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, from Ryan Wadowski. I'm a big Tomb Raider and Uncharted fan. A lot of people aren't into the new games because they are so different from the old. While the old games are great, I think them giving the series a new take was a great idea. Things don't always have to be the exact same every time. I would have liked some more puzzles in the game, but the action was good. And from Sigurd Nielsen, I remember playing without knowing who Laura is and why she's doing what she's doing. Basically, I didn't know how much depth it has to offer. And then recently I came back and tried it again. I'm having so much fun in the story, and Laura is 10 times better. Okay.
I know I actually understand where he was coming from about, not liking it because it was not like the originals. Because, like I said, I played the originals, never got to play the first reboot. And when I heard about this reboot and I could see why it's not like the first ones, but I also looked at from we're getting the story of how she survived whatever accident it was.
This is connecting with her father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the last one I'm going to read from Laura Cross Tomb Raider. I got one comment from Paige Holman. Make sure to play the DLC Blood Ties after you complete it. I did, and I loved it. All right, and that brings us to Shelf Stacker Box. And Richard, would you want to go first?
Sure. I'd put this on the shelf. It was a very enjoyable game. As part of, if I played it as a solo game, I may not have enjoyed it as much as I did as, after playing the first one, because I enjoyed the bigger story. So, yeah, all the things they added to it, I enjoyed that. They took away all some of those nasty QuickTime sections.
Yeah.
Which I was glad for. I'm not going to say anything about next one. But
please don't. Yeah.
I do like that they also added something, and I know we didn't mention it, but I like the fact that they added the traps.
Yeah,
they didn't use any traps.
Well, like
in the first one, but there was like the spike trap and
like in Syria with the spike and the water and
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that was like a nice little addition to it. And all the mechanics just made it work well. So definitely a shelf.
And okay, and what about you, Cody?
This game's hot garbage. It goes in the box. No, I am messing. Okay, so the first one we played was a stack. That the 2013 Tomb Raider walked so that Rise could run, and for that it's a shelf. Again, I don't know if I would have appreciated as much. I feel like I would have. I feel like if I'd played them backwards, I'd be very frustrated with the first one. But yeah, no, like if I'd played 2013 after this, I would have definitely thought a lot worse of it. I feel like this improved on it in almost every single way. I feel like I like some of the aesthetics of 2013 a little bit more than Rise, but as an overall package, like Rise literally does everything better. The Metroidvania Soviet like playground is incredibly fun, and then very fun narrative, very well written characters, relatable and understandable villains, and just incredibly compelling. None of it felt like busy work. The only thing that would make it just short of perfect is on 360. There's like a leap of faith part, and you can't do it because it's bugged out in the 360 version. So I could not 100% that game. So it's not perfect. They never patched it. I don't know why.
Don't care.
Yeah, because it came out on the 360, and I'm sure they fixed it for everything else except me. But other than that, no, it's really, really fun, and it's amazing. You can play as much or as little of it as you want and get a ton out of it. You can honestly skip the one in 2013, have lots of fun, or do them back to back. It's very, very good. It's not my top 10 of all time, but I have a very big shelf, and Rise of the Tomb Raider belongs on it.
Okay, and I'll go last. This is going on the shelf.
I mean, there's no other option. Like, you kind of have to go last.
Yeah, I loved it. I had a great time. This is one of the most fun games that I have played recently on the show. Like, I came into this with no expectations, and I left happy as hell. I mean, this was a great experience, and I will be telling people forever to play this damn game. Especially if you're like me and you download every free game Epic has just because it's free. So why not? It doesn't hurt you. It just goes in your account. You might already own this, so play it. So go on the shelf, and I'll be recommending this game to everybody.
Yeah.
All right. I should talk about I should mention what we're going to be talking about next week. Next week for episode 175, we are bringing you the long-anticipated Kingdom Hearts review, which is going to be probably a 3-hour episode. So stay tuned for that next week, because I'm sure that's going to be fucking just me. I got 4 people. We're going to be going on and on and on about Kingdom Hearts.
Have fun with that.
I'll try. No guarantees, but I'll try. I didn't have fun playing the game all the time, so we'll see.
Well, then that won't end up being a 2-parter.
No.
I can talk about like animal dicks if you want to try to work this one up to 4 hours, Mike.
I do not.
See, the snow leopard's penis is like actually barbed on the very end in order to ensure consummation.
Wouldn't that hurt the female?
Yes, it does actually. Okay. It's horrifying. It's disgustingly colored and horrifically shaped.
Part of me wants to Google that. The other part of me is like, don't do that.
Google snow leopard penis, Mike. You will think. I'm going to send you a picture here in chat. You're fine.
Oh, no.
Yeah, y'all are going to get it. You better clock out before I find it.
And Rich, where can people find you at?
You can find me up on my YouTube channel, Rich KL. And I also have stuff that's posted elsewhere where I do a lot of writing, up on Comic Vine, fanfiction.net, Archive of Our Own. So you can find me all on those locations. Check stuff out. I have a lot of stuff that I've written over the years, and I got tons of videos up
You
there.
make a lot of videos.
Hey, I keep busy. It helps.
No, it's good. Videos
It helps
are,
with the-
I need to do that. I just haven't yet for some reason. But it's good that you do.
It's fun.
And Cody, where can people find you at?
Man, again, you can search for me on various forms of social media, TikTok, whatnot. Like I said, I'm really kind of laying low these days, which I don't mind too much. But yeah, other than that, you can find me on YouTube. I still have some old videos there that you can check out. But yeah, other than that, I guess look for me in the official Laser Time community. I do enjoy that. I'm always making lots of fun videos, doing fun posts, sharing lots of memes. I'm killing time until I can find a picture of that snow leopard penis. So just
You don't need to. It's okay.
No, it's fine. I got you, bro.
You'll probably find him on the website rating video game butts.
Yes. Also video game butts. Yes. Listen to other ones that other podcasts that I've done. If you like butts, I talk about them a lot on previous episodes of games my mom found.
Yes.
Mainly, what did we do? Alice. We did 2 of the Dead Space games. We're probably going to do another one. I mean, we better do another one. Yeah. There and Senate. Snow leopard penis. Enjoy.
Hey.
Ah, it's horrifying.
What the fuck? That looks like a painful.
Yes.
Oh my god!
It's
I feel
very
bad for
painful.
snow leopards now. God,
And
no
you're
wonder weren't they
okay.
going extinct at one point?
Yes. that's
Now you know
probably
why?
right.
Because when your dick
Oh my
dick has
God.
giant barbs on it, women don't want to sleep with you. Or in this case, female leopards don't want to sleep with the male. I get it now.
Yes.
They're like,
That
screw
sound was
you.
me killing time until I could send them a picture of a snow leopard's penis.
No one can see
I
it.
went to college for that, man. I spent $50,000 to learn about that,
$50,000 to learn about snow leopard's penis.
among other things. Yes, but yes. Other than that, look up Cody Laveau on any and all social media. It's probably me. Within the next week, I'll probably join FarmersOnly.com. So check me out there. I'm looking for a goodly wife who is capable of chopping wood and tending to the fields. So.
And if you show her that picture, yours is going to get chopped.
I love you, Richard. That's amazing.
All right. And if you enjoyed this episode, we have a whole bunch of other catalog worth of stuff. Over 300 episodes of games my mom found. You can find everything on Podbean if you're wondering why you can't find something on Spotify or iTunes, because they only go back 100, so you can't find our whole catalog. I want to give a shout out to my awesome intro and outro, courtesy of Helena at Hell Has Fury, so you can follow her on TikTok. And if you want to hear more Tomb Raider, we did Tomb Raider 2013, episode 163, and we did Tomb Raider 2 back in episode 45. God, that was a long time ago. So
Yes, very long time ago.
Yeah, because we're on episode 174, and that's 174 weeks. Every week, I've never missed one because I'm insane.
You
So-
are incredibly dedicated.
I am too much, but yes.
Foolishly so, but I
Yes.
love it. No, this is a really great. This is an excellent podcast. I listen to it even when I'm not on it. Although when I'm on it, I listen to it twice because I am an insane narcissist, as you can tell.
Okay.
And I still have every episode on my computer here.
I appreciate
Wow.
every download. Makes my little number go tick, and I smile. And also, other thing I need to say is want to give a shout out to my awesome buddy Bill Tucker, who did the MCU with me, started his own podcast, The Gamer Looks at 40. Definitely go check him out. We do have a Patreon. For as little dollar, you can vote in our Patreon poll. Right now, this month is a sequel poll. We can either cover Empire Strikes Back, Blade 2, Resident Evil Apocalypse, or Venom Let There Be Carnage. So you get to decide what sequel we're going to cover.
Ooh.
And spoiler alert, we're going to cover all 4 someday, but that depends on what you get next month and how fast I do. Depends on what people show interest
I
in.
remember seeing Resident Evil Apocalypse.
It's a good movie, from what I remember.
Yeah, I
It was
like
a
it.
decent one.
Yeah,
It gets shitty at 3. 3 is a shit one, from what I remember.
yeah.
It's been a long time.
I only read the novelization of 3.
Well, the third movie has nothing to do with.
recommend,
3.
some advice for you: if you ever read that novelization, do not do it when you are do not read it when you are having a case of the flu. Oh boy, that
Hallucinating?
messed me up bad.
So
I really thought I had a T virus.
Ah,
I get it. And also, please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and on YouTube. We are on YouTube, only audio, but we are there. I think that's everything I need to say. And this almost 2.5-hour podcast can end. So we will see you guys all next time.
Take
Bye,
it
everybody.
easy, Mike.
Bye all.
And if it's easy, take it twice. Yeah, that's it. Mike, he knows me.
All right, bye.